teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years. There isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
It's time for quarantine questions. You're up, Jared. What have you been eating the most during this quarantine?
I've been eating a lot of Indian food.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
You blind? Are you blind?
And we haven't even started talking about the tweets of the president of the United States adding just that much fire.
Right now, there are actual flames. There is an actual fire, and the president is once again using Twitter to stoke those flames.
This is what Trump's America looks like now.
Oh God, not this again!
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Just walking away from this platform you've been so critical of?
Well, if you weren't fake, I would not even think about it. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Unreal,
but the news is fake.
It's a fact.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
On Twitter, shouldn't the president be fact-checked? Especially this president.
If you're going to get into the fact-checking business, there's no one that should be fact-checked more than the mainstream media that has been continually wrong about a number of things. ABC News in December of 2017 falsely reported that Flynn would testify that the president directed him.
Excellent.
Your network, CNN, botched their WikiLeaks email exclusive and were forced to make on-air corrections.
Excellent.
CNN's Jen Sciutto dropped a fictional bombshell in 2018.
Finish him. Unchained and unstoppable.
Individuals who, when they're under oath, say, I see nothing, I see no collusion, there's nothing, and then I see those people on television saying the opposite. It's a clear message that this is about grandstanding. It angers me as a citizen of this country.
Biden is showing steady, quiet leadership, and that's what people want.
Not a leader.
Not a leader. Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I believe he was just complaining that cop in Minnesota was not arrested about a half hour after his arrest, right? I think that's what he was doing. I haven't seen the whole thing. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. We have so much to get to again here today. But as you know, or maybe you don't know, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has announced its guidelines for reopening the restaurants. But of course, they're not really going to reopen. You can reopen with 25% of your capacity, and if you have outdoor seating. But that's only 1/4 of the restaurants in the Commonwealth. So we could assume that now others of that 3/4 of the restaurants will try to get changes in the zoning or the seating arrangements in their cities or towns to try to get some of those tables open up. And then of course the safety standards are set up apparently by people who have not only never worked in a restaurant, but have never been to a restaurant to eat at. I don't want to go on for a long time with this. We're going to have Eric Hines on much later in the show to talk about this, but I just want to mention this briefly. How about this one? This is my favorite one. All workers must wash their hands frequently, and table servers must wash their hands or apply hand sanitizer between each table interaction. So as it occurred to me, you're the waiter and you bring water. You refill everybody's glass with water. And then somebody at the table says, can you bring me some more butter? So you don't just go back and get butter. You have to wash your hands before you can bring them some butter back. Tables cannot exceed 6 people. All customer-facing workers, i.e. servers, bus staff, must minimize time spent within 6 feet of customers. Require face coverings for all customers and workers at all times. Although they're saying, oh, no, you can take it off to eat. You can take it off to eat. Prohibit lingering in common areas, e.g. waiting rooms and bathrooms. Do they think there's a lot of that people are allowed to linger in waiting areas or restrooms now? Here's one. I bet that, why didn't restaurants ever think of this one before? Reservations or call-ahead seating should be encouraged. Imagine that. Why didn't we think of that? Damn. I was working in restaurants so long ago. Here's another one prohibiting lingering in common areas. Lingering is no longer. I thought that the Supreme Court had declared all those lingering type laws unconstitutional. Failure to give a good account of oneself. That was in New York State, or in Massachusetts, being abroad in the night. Those were all thrown out. Now they're back. They're back because we got to fight the Wuhan Red Death. Face coverings are required for all workers and guests when inside hallways and common areas. Now this is another one. This is how many places do you go in where they tell you how often the place is cleaned? Well, apparently none of the people that wrote this thing have ever seen this. This is for hotels and motels. Keep cleaning logs that include date, time, and scope of cleaning. Remove or limit paper amenities in guest rooms. Remove pen, paper, and guest directory, magazines and brochures. Supplement with digital material or make materials available upon request. How about this one? This is one for the Gestapo, the health Gestapo. Maintain a log of guests, workers, and guests to support contact tracing. Name, date, time, contact information if needed.
Your papers, please.
Require workers to avoid handshakes and similar greetings. Workers should not open the doors of cars or taxis. Here's a great one. Post visible signage throughout the site to remind workers and guests of the hygiene and safety protocols. I could have sworn that when I worked in the kitchen at the Colony Hotel more than a half century ago, I hate to say, they had a sign in the bathrooms that said, "State law and common decency require you to wash your hands." Well, apparently nobody ever saw any of those signs, though, who wrote this. These are and again, remember too, these people that are giving these signs to save everybody's lives, these are the people who've been regulating the nursing homes in Massachusetts, where 62% of the deaths from the Wuhan Red Death have occurred in the nursing homes that are regulated by the same people who are telling you how to stay safe at restaurants. These are the same people who took hundreds, not tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the nursing home operators and then proceeded in one way or another to look the other way while thousands of people died. And now they're going to tell you and me and everybody else how to conduct ourselves in restaurants and hotels and motels. Okay, another thing. They're bringing back bottle and can redemptions starting next week. But wait. They have new rules for those too. You have to wear masks and gloves, and you have to make sure the bottles and cans are clean. Because that's very easy. Because it's you got sugar and alcohol and hops in all these bottles and cans. Of course, it's easy to clean them up. And there will be no over-the-counter redemptions for another couple of weeks. So this is it. Why today? Why today, you ask? Why? You know why? Because today, Tal Duvall's daddy, Governor Andrew Cuomo, baby Doc Cuomo of New York, announced that New York City is going to start reopening. So, you ever hear the old saying, monkey see, monkey do? That's what we got here. Monkey see, monkey do. Cuomo says jump, and Tal Duvall says, how high, daddy? So that's it. So the restaurants will be reopening in a manner of speaking. In a manner, oh boy, is it going to be? It's going to be fun to go to those restaurants. Just look, there's only I'd say about 10,000 words of between the hotels and the restaurants. There's only maybe not 10,000, maybe 7,000 words of instructional material. And again, you know, who better to tell you how to save your life from a disease which has taken the lives of, right now, 89 people in Massachusetts under the age of 50. 89 people. In Maine, it's taken the lives of 81 people altogether. If you subtract the nursing homes, over half the people in the country who have died have been in nursing homes. The average age of the person dying is 82. So we've had to turn the society on its head because of this, and because of the criminally negligent mismanagement and misregulation of the nursing homes by the same people who are now lecturing us and ordering us what to do. Not that I'm angry or bitter, you understand. 844-500-4242. We'll be right back. And boy, do we have some great sound cuts from the state of Maryland about some of their reopenings. Wait till you hear this. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by 110 Grill, now open for outdoor dining on their beautiful patios in New Hampshire. To find your nearest location, sign up for their loyalty program, or to order takeout, go to 110grill.com. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
At Subaru of New England, we believe in vehicles that families can trust, like a brand new 2020 Subaru Forester, starting at only $24,495. Buy the Forester with 0% financing for up to 63 months. Plus, with your Subaru purchase, get 90-day payment deferral from our participating retailers. It takes love and community to make a difference, and our New England Subaru retailers are committed to being a resource for our neighbors. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Hey, Howie, it's Jared.
Yes.
Taylor had to step out to do some streaming, so I'm on the board for now.
Oh, okay, great. But you've got the new cut. How many cuts do you have from Montgomery County?
I grabbed the 2 cuts. The first one was him announcing the hair salons.
Okay.
And then it's got some of the people shouting back at him. And the second cut is when he talks about the camping and the churches.
Okay, good. So they're both pretty good though, right?
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also just got it, but we have the cut of Trump saying he's terminating our relationship with the WHO.
Oh, good. Excellent. Excellent.
These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not. You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gunnar was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gunnar a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gunnar is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people have forgotten him now. Jimmy Cannon was pretty good. He was so good that Mike Barnacle used to steal stuff from him all the time. Breslin was good in his early days, not so good later on, but when he was working for the Herald Tribune back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Originally, this was supposed to be a remote broadcast from a nice restaurant, and it was going to be Grace's birthday party. Her 28th birthday party, which is actually Sunday, but obviously that's gone the way of silverware in Massachusetts restaurants, as I'm reminded by somebody else who's read this thing. All the silverware now must be plastic. Nothing says a good steakhouse like a plastic knife, I always say. I don't know they don't know how this is going to work. All we know is that these are the same people who made the nursing homes so safe are now going to make the restaurants so safe. So you can all this BS that they want to put you through, you know it's going to work to a real T. You're just going to take all the restaurants are going to be able to, go about their business the usual way. Just do what the nursing homes did. Just pay a lot of money to the politicians, to the hacks, to Tal Duvall, to pay to play Polito, to the unindicted co-conspirator, to the chairman of Ways and Means. In both branches. Anyway, okay. So today's poll question is brought to you by Grace's Birthday Bargain. That's what's left of her birthday celebration. Purchase any item or cheap bastard deal on the Howie Carr Show store, at the Howie Carr Show store, and you'll get a free Boomer Naturals 30-day reusable face covering for free. Visit HowieCarrShow.com and click store. Offer limited to the first 150 orders. Happy birthday, Grace. So this is a great deal, and this is her 28th birthday, and whatever you add to the cart, you'll get a free mask with your purchase. So click store, and this is important, click catalog so you can see all of the items in our store. And, there are tons of options for everybody, cheap bastards deals to spas and a couple of restaurants. Buy a set of books, just a T-shirt, whatever. You get a free Boomer mask if you're one of the first 150 people. There are no codes, just order. Now, so we got to set this up by Montgomery County, Maryland. Remember we were talking about that last year. That's the one that made themselves a sanctuary county for illegal aliens. And within a month after they'd done that, there were at least 8 rapes, mainly of underage girls by illegal aliens from Central America with tattoos. They were MS-13 gangbangers. They had tattoos on their neck. They were on welfare, et cetera, et cetera. So this is Montgomery County. It's a Massachusetts type place. Think of Mark Ehrlich as being a Maryland Tal Duvall type guy. So they're going to try to reopen the county, Montgomery County. I assume illegal aliens were not covered under any of these lockdowns, these Gestapo techniques, but for citizens were. So Mark Ehrlich has he's announcing the plans yesterday. Listen to this, cut 24.
Again, these are Governor Hogan's recommendations. Personal services, hair salons and barbershops open for hair only, no haircuts, no manicures, none of the, no pedicures. Houses of worship open.
Oh, that's a satisfied crowd. So the barbershops and the hair salons are open, but not for haircuts. Just for style. Play the beginning of that one more time, Jared, just so people aren't going to believe this, even in the topsy-turvy, bizarro world we live in. Go ahead.
Again, these are Governor Hogan's recommendations. Personal services, hair salons, and barbershops open for hair only, no haircuts, no manicures, none of the, no pedicures.
What? Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Would you go to a barber shop or hair salon just to get your hair styled but not cut?
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So is that, do the cooties live in hair? Is that the problem? Like if you cut it, is there exposure?
They live in scissors.
Oh, okay.
But how big do they just go to big scissors or hair scissors or finger? How about, do they live in fingernail scissors too? But per order of Governor Hogan or Governor Parker, Governor Cuomo, Governor Whitmer, there will be no more nail cuttings until further notice. Jawohl. So what's the poll question and what are the results?
The question was, would you go to a barber shop or a hair salon just to get your hair styled but not cut? 83% of the audience says no.
I cannot believe that 17% think that's a great idea. Talk about play the last cut as long as we're here. This is the new church policy in Montgomery County, and I assume this applies to
Houses of worship can do outdoor gatherings and do outdoor services. Manufacturing is fully reopened, but with precautionary measures. Car washes can do external washes. Nothing internal, and no contact with customers. Outdoor produce picking will be allowed. Outdoor camps will follow governor's guidance. Is no more than 10 people in a group, 9 children and 1 adult.
So we're in like going into strawberry season, right? So I guess strawberries provide some kind of antidote or antibodies to the cooties, right? Because they say you could do outdoor picking and that's okay, but you can do church services outside because apparently in a church parking lot the virus can't survive, but inside the building it can be deadly. Have I got that straight? Do I understand this? 844-540. Is that the former Governor Ehrlich? No. Governor Ehrlich was a Republican. This guy, this guy is a Democrat lunatic. He's they call him the county executive, but it's an elected position. And this is one of those counties where 90% of the people are Peter Strzok types and Lisa Page types, bureaucrats making $150,000. The other 10% are illegal alien gangbangers who are raping all the underage women and being let go with a pat on the head by the Mark Ehrlichs of the world. We'll be back with your calls in just a moment. I'm Howie Carr. Hey campers, this is Howie Carr. Camping season is here and Cold Springs RV is ready for you. If a new or pre-owned camper has been on your wish list, check out the great specials online at coldspringsrv.com. The inventory that was purchased for the RV show that was canceled is now bursting at the seams. Now is the time to score a great deal. Visit coldspringsrv.com for RV specials, as well as information on hours and operations. Safety is Cold Springs RV's top priority, so please visit the website to learn more. If it is service you need, the brand new state-of-the-art facility is ready for you, servicing all makes and brands. If your RV needs body work, whether it's a collision repair, roof replacement, or a new paint job, they have you covered. From minor repairs to major insurance jobs, Cold Springs RV can do it all. Their body shop works with all insurance companies. As a full-service RV dealer, you know they can fix just about anything. Cold Springs RV, Route 114, Ware, New Hampshire. coldspringsrv.com. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, That's a goody two shoes
No, it's
favorite
not.
curse word
No,
if I
it's-
ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poof?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt B has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language. No question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would not retire, but yeah, I think I would retire now.
If you had to leave all of your money to one charity, which would it be?
The Salvation Army. I like what the Salvation Army does. I don't think they have too many highly paid executives trying to be social justice warriors.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Charlie Parker, he did such a bang-up job with the MBTA, the Registry of Motor Vehicles, the Division of the Department of Children and Families, and now nursing homes. So he's taking over the restaurant industry and the hospitality industry, the lodgings. What could possibly go wrong with putting it in the control of the people who have run the MBTA, the Registry of Motor Vehicles, the nursing homes? What could possibly go wrong?
Don't know.
Tim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tim.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for having me on the show again. I just want to say we always talk about the politicians, the liberal Democratic politicians. They're the excrement of our society. All true. But I have to say, the voters in these states, these blue states, are an absolute disgrace. We looked at about a week and a half ago, there was a special election down in Cape Cod there.
Yeah.
And of course, the Democrat wins. I mean, the people of Cape Cod, they want to have a summer. They want to have business. They want to have an economy. Well, here's a classic example of the voters. The voters get what they vote for. I'm sorry. Places like California, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, New Jersey. I mean, these blue states, Massachusetts. I mean, you get what you vote for. The people ought to be ashamed of themselves. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I've been thinking about that. I posted something today. A friend of mine wrote something. He was waiting at for a meeting to take place, and he was talking about how, and I'll read it in a little bit. He was talking about how the people in Massachusetts, they look down on Florida and Texas and all the states in the South and the Midwest that are open up. Some of them are even run by Democrats, like Colorado. And they say, oh, these people are stupid and they're rednecks and they don't know what they're doing. And, you know, we're doing it the right way. And the states have collapsed, basically. And all they could do is dig deeper and deeper and deeper holes, whether it's mills up in Maine, you know, trying to, telling the restaurants in southern Maine they can reopen and then telling them they can't, or Whitmer her husband trying to bust in line, or the Democrat governor of New Mexico saying that the jewelry store has to reopen to sell to her, or the mayor of Los Angeles letting a former high school principal from Jamaica Plain shut down the entire city through the summer. The city of Angels, the second largest city in the country. You're right, Tom. Tim. These places have lost their minds. And I just got a text from a guy in Maine, and he said, if there's not a red tsunami in November, the country's doomed. I mean, if there's ever been an object lesson of how to mismanage jurisdictions, whether they're cities or states, I mean, what more do we need here? You have this nitwit mayor in Minneapolis. This is a guy who a week ago ordered his police department to begin writing $200 tickets to 2-year-olds who were not wearing masks. Seriously, that's not a lie. That's what he was doing. Now he hasn't shaved and he's looking like some Brooklyn hipster on his way to a Pabst Blue Ribbon Festival in Red Hook or somewhere. And I'm going to urge the not looters. I'm going to urge the protesters to social distance and wear masks while they're burning down the police stations. Are you kidding me? This is what you get, as one of his few sentient statements that he's ever made. Barack Obama, elections have consequences. They do. And look at the consequences here. Look at the consequences everywhere behind the iron curtain of the blue states. Thanks for the call, Tim. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, Howie, good show as usual. I'm calling from Maine, and I talked to a guy that's in the restaurant business this morning, and he was telling me that one of the stipulations they have, and they will not enforce, is people that come in have to wear a mask before they're seated.
Right.
And he said, which is just stupid.
That's the same in Massachusetts.
Required,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then they're required by this idiot governor we have to take down the names, the contact information and everything, just in case somebody comes down with this stupid virus. And he told me it's not required, but a lot of sheeple will actually pull out their wallets and flash it. But if it's me, I'm either going to tell them it's none of their business, which they can't do anything about, or I'm going to tell them my name is Janet Mills and give them a phone number. That's all I'm going to do.
While you were talking, I was just looking through the safety standards here for the hotels. I got to read this in a German accent. It only seems appropriate. Maintain a log of workers and guests to support contract tracing. Name, date, time, contact information if needed. That really makes me feel welcome at the hotel or the restaurant. How about you, Bill?
Well, the whole thing is a joke. And if you get a chance, May 21st, which is just a few days ago, go on and look up New England Journal of Medicine. The phony baloney information that's been passed around about these stupid masks.
I know, I saw that.
Most people that wear those masks are always touching their faces, and they highly recommend not wearing masks if you're healthy.
Well, Fauci, before he said that masks were mandatory or should be mandatory, he was saying a month earlier that it was ridiculous to wear a mask. And this comes back to Twitter too. You know, they want to go after Trump, and they want to fact check Trump. And so you know what that's all about. I realized that today the Globe had a headline: Twitter calls out Trump for his tweet. So now they don't have to do it themselves. They can say Twitter, like, because this guy who's from the gay masculinity study, and he's in charge of integrity. How Orwellian is that? That guy, what's that? Yoel Roth, the gay masculinity student from the University of Pennsylvania. He's in charge of integrity. This is like George Orwell, the 1984, the book, The Ministry of Truth. So you have a guy who hates Trump, who hates deplorables, who hates Republicans, who hates the flyover states. He's in charge of integrity. Thanks for the call, Bill. 844. I'm just skipping around from it's all part of one and the same. This is an attempt to defeat Donald Trump in November. Russ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Russ.
Make sure I understand this correctly. The Beacon Hill organized crime family doesn't really care if we have to handle bottles and cans that people had their mouth on and can carry germs. But that's okay as long as they're making money, right? But yet
Russ, obviously, Russ, you got to read the whole thing. I told Grace to send out the whole press release. I don't know if we've tweeted it out yet or not, but what they're trying to do is discourage you from returning those bottles and cans. You know, it's been over 2 months now since bottles and cans have been redeemable. So and they're also you're going to have like waiting lines to go into like where I always return them is at the Market Basket in Waltham, because they take all kinds of bottles. They take the soft drinks, and they take the adult beverages. So you're going to have a waiting list to get in, and to get in, you're going to have to wear a mask. So they're going to try to make it as unpleasant as possible to return them, so they can keep that extra nickel, Russ. You know how it works.
I hate them. I am so disappointed with my fellow citizens here for following these fools over the cliff.
I know. No, nobody ever says. Again, if we had real reporters today, they would ask, why should we believe these regulations are going to have any effect? You were the same people who set up the regulations in the nursing homes, and 62% of the people who are dead are in the nursing homes, and you didn't do anything about it because they were giving you tens or hundreds altogether, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So who's to say you can't be bribed again? You were legally perhaps, but you were bribed. You were bribed to look the other way. Thanks for the call, Russ. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
How are you?
Good.
Hello. Yeah, hey, listen, I called you about 6 weeks ago. My mom is in a nursing home in Massachusetts, and she's 87 pounds soaking wet, and she got the coronavirus, and she lived through it.
Good.
3 weeks after she was all better, 3 weeks later, my sister asked the doctor, hey, can you retest her to see if it's okay? They said, no, we just leave it on an open file. That way, when they say there's going to be a second wave, if my mom dies of a heart attack next October, they're going to say, oh, corona. That's the way they're doing it, how we fact check it. It's I can get the note from the doctor that says they're not going to do it.
Yeah. Don't you think, though, if they can get rid of Trump on November 4th, this whole thing will just be totally forgotten the next day?
Oh, my God. Where do you sign up to meet other people? Everybody get a ham radio so patriots can keep in touch. Because I'm telling you, all hell's going to break loose. I'm not saying they're going to make it so we can't associate with each other. and we're not going to be able to get in touch with each other to fight back. Somebody's going to do something. I'm all in, man. I'll do whatever it takes.
Thanks for the call, Bob, and I'm glad your mother recovered. There's a great column in the New York Post today by one of the op-ed editors, and he's talking about if they want to start flagging irresponsible false statements on Twitter, and then he just lists a whole group of them, and the one that really comes to mind, since we're talking about the panic, is this city councilor in New York who says in February, it was a Chinese New Year, and he said, defeat the fear of coronavirus and go down to Chinatown. Now, was that a responsible statement for him to make? Did Twitter ever call him out on that? Have they deleted that irresponsible, dangerous, deadly tweet telling people to not worry about coronavirus? No, they haven't. Could it be because that New York City councilor, Mark Levine, is a Democrat? 844-500-4242. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Howie. This is John in the truck. I was just giving you a quick call on the cans and bottles. In Rosendale Square, there's a redemption center owned by a nice Chinese woman. You go in there, she's glad to take your bottles anytime. So Wegmans and all these other stores will no longer take your bottles and cans. So
right.
They're open in Rosendale.
Well,
the other thing I was going to mention.
Apparently, they're going to start again on June 5th, but nothing over the counter. It's only got to be into the machines. They don't start over the counter redemptions for another 2 weeks. But they're trying to make it as unpleasant as possible and as difficult to return, because that's the plan.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure. Oh yeah. And the other thing I was going to mention was everything I read is the coronavirus in the hot weather. It doesn't sustain itself. So why shouldn't they be encouraging people to go to the beaches where it's hot?
I think so too. And camps. They're talking about in some states keeping the summer camps shut. I mean, it seems like it would be a lot safer for the kids to be outside. If you really believe they're in. I mean, and no kids are dying. 0 kids are dying from this thing. But if you do believe the panic, then I would think you would want your kids to be outside, because John's right. I mean, it seems like all viruses, from what I've always heard, you're better off outside. You're better off in the sunlight than you are in a damp indoor location, whatever it is. Thanks for the call, John. 844-500-4242. 207 says BYOS, bring your own silverware. I'm not sure that's even allowed. Do you get to bring, if you go to a steakhouse, do you get to bring like one knife? One knife that could actually cut a steak? Or do they cut it for you in the kitchen? And incidentally too, it gets pretty hot in the kitchen, especially in the summertime. Are they gonna have to wear masks when it's like, I don't know, 100, 105 degrees in front of those ovens? Just asking. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls. And a fleet of trucks stocked with parts. Oh, she did. Sure Okay, you're good. Not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. SkillingsandSons.com. Okay,
Cape Gunworks has added virtual online classes during this difficult time. Based in Hyannis, Cape Gunworks remains open 7 days a week for all of your gun and ammo needs. The range is also open full-time. Cape Gunworks now carries the MyCube Survival Safe. This safe is good for ammo, cash, and your pistol. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com.
In your news,
Yeah, if you want, we can just talk
Jim
about the
Acosta,
restaurants and stuff
without
in my
a
news.
doubt, wins the
Yeah,
competition.
you want to do that?
Trump's
Okay, that's
least
fine with
favorite
me.
Journalist of all time.
I
Let's
might not
listen
do
to
it the whole
some of
time, but I'll
their
do a couple of them.
feistier
Excuse me?
moments.
I'll tell you what,
I
CNN
might
should
not
be
do it the
ashamed
whole
of.
time, but I'll do.
No. You don't have to do it. You can do whatever you want, Grace. If you want to do something else. I mean, I just got off on this because I'm just so PO'd.
No, I'll do them.
You're PO'd too, I see.
More cuts. I'll just staple it together.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I can't hear anything.
This is Gloria from Haverhill, Mass.
Hi, this is Joe from Howie in the Hills, Florida, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
If I go Google, how many tests is enough? I can get a spread on that that's this big.
How many times do we have to go over the numbers? He's got a capacity of 30,000 a day in Massachusetts. Last I looked, there were 6,000 people a day taking the test. He wants to upgrade the capacity to $75,000 per day. You know, I didn't go to Harvard, but I know an old saying called, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Why would anyone under the age of, 40, say? Why would anyone under the age of 40 get a test? They're not going to get sick. There's a vanishingly small chance of getting sick if you're youthful. If you have a better chance of looking up at you have your better health odds to look up at the sky and make sure that there's not a dark cloud that's going to throw a bolt of lightning at you. You have a better chance of being killed by a bolt of lightning than dying from COVID-19. And he wonders why people aren't getting the tests, or maybe he doesn't wonder. Who knows? I don't think he's not very thoughtful. You know, he only ran one business. It was a big business, but it was one of these businesses that just relied on government handouts, basically, and government regulation. So he had to brown nose regulators. He was running Blue Cross Blue Shield or one of the big health outfits in Boston. And that's all he's ever done. I mean, the rest of the time, he's just been getting a government paycheck. He's never had a small business. I don't know. Has he ever worked in a small business? People who know what it's like to be in a restaurant, who know what it's like to have to deal with the boot of government overreach, would never be putting out these kinds of ridiculous regulations. Lee, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Lee.
Liz,
excuse me, Liz. Sorry.
Hello, Howie.
Hi.
I have a friend. Actually, you know him. He's a former colleague of yours, but he shall go nameless for privacy's sake. 3 weeks ago, was admitted to hospital in Massachusetts for a surgical procedure, and he was there for 2 weeks. 5 days after discharge, he has now been readmitted to hospital for COVID. Guess where he picked it up from?
The hospital?
Hospital. Mhm.
Yeah.
From the hospital. He is on a ventilator as we speak.
Oh man, that's too bad.
Yes.
That's tough. How old is
Yes.
he?
He's about 75, I guess. I think he's about 10 years older than me.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry. I hope he pulls through. Thanks for the call, Liz. 844-500-4242. 978 says, I have a Swiss Army knife in my truck always. That doesn't mean you can bring it into the restaurant, pal. We have the health police. They did such a bang up job at the nursing homes. They're going to be checking everybody when they come into the restaurant. I'm Howie Carr.
and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on?
A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape. Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure. It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Hold up!
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK.
The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan.
8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, the demagogues around the world.
We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS.
It would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? Bills that the future president here, that the senator is talking about.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly. You blind? Are you blind?
And we haven't even started talking about the tweets of the president of the United States adding just that much fire.
Right now, there are actual flames. There is an actual fire, and the president is once again using Twitter to stoke those flames.
This is what Trump's America looks like now.
Oh, God, not this again.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Just walking away from this platform you've been so critical of?
Well, if you weren't fake, I would not even think about it. I would do that in a heartbeat. But the news is fake.
It's a fact.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
On Twitter, shouldn't the president be fact-checked?
especially this president.
If you're going to get into the fact-checking business, there's no one that should be fact-checked more than the mainstream media that has been continually wrong about a number of things. ABC News in December of 2017 falsely reported that Flynn would testify that the president directed him.
Excellent.
Your network, CNN, botched their WikiLeaks email exclusive and were forced to make on-air corrections.
Excellent.
CNN's Jim Sciutto dropped a fictional bombshell in 2018.
Finish him. Unchained and unstoppable.
Individuals who, when they're under oath, say, I see nothing, I see no collusion, there's nothing. And then I see those people on television saying the opposite. It's a clear message that this is about grandstanding. It angers me as a citizen of this country.
Biden is showing steady, quiet leadership, and that's what people want.
Not a leader. Not a leader.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242 is the Twitter man in charge of integrity, so-called. Is he on the case of all this these false tweets that are being sent out saying that Donald Trump was posing at a rally in Minnesota with the cop who was just arrested? That's totally false. It's fictitious. It's the guy that they're saying is next to Trump is the president of the police union, I guess, in Bloomington, Minnesota. It's not this guy Chauvin or whatever his name is. And but I haven't seen Twitter pulling off any of that stuff. I guess not. It's that's the way it is. As Trump said today, if he'd like to be able to delete Twitter, but what's he going to do? Because the mainstream media is even more fake than Twitter is. Cut 22.
If we had a fair press in this country, I would do that in a heartbeat. There's nothing I'd rather do than get rid of my whole Twitter account, but I'm able to get to, I guess, 186 million people when you add up all the different accounts and add Facebook and Instagram. It's a lot of people. And that's more than the media companies have, frankly, by a lot. And so if I get a story that's wrong, I can put a social media. I don't usually use the word Twitter. I say social media. But I put something out and the next day or the next hour or the next minute, everybody's reading about it. So I'm able to refute fake news, and that's very important.
Yeah, like the fake news saying that he's advocating, quote unquote, gunning down American citizenship. He just said that, I think something like looting leads to shooting. And, I looked it up because I thought I remembered Mayor Richard J. Daley of Chicago, the first Richard J. Daley of Chicago. You know who he was? He was the guy who stole enough ballots in Cook County in 1960 to get John F. Kennedy elected president. You think that guy would be a big hero of the moonbats in Silicon Valley and inside the Beltway in Manhattan? So I looked it up on YouTube. You can look it up. Just go Richard J. Daley, shoot to kill, and it's right there. It's right there. He said after the rioting broke out in 1968, April 1968, after Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, he said, I've issued orders to the police to shoot to kill if they see anybody torching a building. Arson could kill people. Shoot to kill. That's what he said. And Trump didn't even say shoot to kill. He just said, you get involved in these kinds of looting situations. These aren't protests. Some of them are protests, but this is looting. If you're looting and you're torching buildings, you could get killed. That's the way it is. And
it's not honoring the memory of George Floyd. Trump tweeted that out as well. It's totally taking away from any movement that was going to happen because of this. They're just taking the attention off of this man who was wrongfully killed, and they're putting it on targets and auto zones that are being burned to the ground.
Right.
And Ali Velshi, if people haven't seen that tweet, Ali Velshi standing in front of a burning building, and he says something along the lines of, these protests, for the most part, are not unruly. And literally, the world behind him is on flames. And I think Laura Ingraham retweeted it, and she said, in other news, up is down and down is up. Like, they don't want us to to see what we're seeing. They want us to believe them instead of our own eyes.
Yeah. And, you know, they want to blame this on Trump because they blame everything on Trump. But the fact is you have a totally unqualified mayor, Jacob Fry, John Hinderaker, who knew him from his law firm, the guy from Powerline Blog. We had him on yesterday, and he said he's totally unqualified. Anyone who doubts whether John Hinderaker knew what he was talking about should look at the press conference today. He's totally lost. His idea, oh, the rioters are in the neighborhood. Let's pull the police out and let the rioters burn down the police station. And then he while you're burning down the police station, can you please observe social distancing?
I know.
Can you wear a mask?
Well, that's Howie. Can I add on to that? Because Mayor Bill de Blasio said that he backs George Floyd protests despite coronavirus gathering ban. And I just want to say, okay, I don't want to get into, I've made it perfectly clear at this point, so I'm not going to say it again, that I understand the outrage over George Floyd. These riots, they're not protests. A lot of these things are riots, okay? I want to understand why de Blasio made such a strong stance against a Jewish funeral for a rabbi, but he's saying that this is okay. I'm talking scientifically. Does the coronavirus not spread when we're burning down targets and rioting, but it does spread during funerals? That's all I want to know, because apparently they're all listening to the CDC. That's what Charlie Baker says. They all listen to these health experts. I want the experts to explain to me why Karen Polito's graduation parties, the virus doesn't spread, but my sister's graduation party, the virus would spread. It just, the rules here aren't making much sense.
Which house in the Polito Bureau compound in Massachusetts, Grace? Where is is it the brother's house or the sister's house or the parents' house? Where are they going to have the keg party this weekend?
It's at the party house.
Hey.
Howie, this is Grace's news, first of all. And I decided that because I was listening to the Baker press conference, I would actually lead off with a few updates from Charlie Parker himself.
This is the governor of Massachusetts, and he heard that Governor Cuomo was starting to reopen New York, and so he said, I must do exactly what Cuomo does. So fortunately for people in Massachusetts, Governor Cuomo has decided to open up New York. We've become a colony of New York.
We've become a copycat state, Howie. I totally agree with you, because the thing that I kept hearing Charlie Baker say is, well, the other states did this and it seemed to work. And I just started to think to myself, what would have happened if every state was waiting for another state? Like if everyone was cowardly and waited for someone else to do it first, nothing would ever get done.
You know, Grace, wouldn't it have been better if he had followed in the footsteps of, I don't know, Texas and Florida?
Yeah, but politically, he just aligns so much more with Rhode Island and New York and Washington.
How about Colorado? They not only have a Democrat governor, it's a gay Democrat governor.
Well,
I mean, surely Charlie Baker can take his cues from a gay Democrat.
The interesting thing, Howie, is that these reporters today were asking him, because they have all these guidelines. They're very proud of the posters and the checklists. I'm noticing that. As someone who's presented to a class before for school and not had a lot behind me, like I had to make the most out of what I had. You have like kind of a C+ project. You're trying to make it into a B-. I know what it's like to pump up your material. They're pumping up this poster. It's really all about the poster. So I want to play Polito on the checklist and the poster. This is cut 34.
So having a checklist, literally, with the things you need to do in order to make your workplace safer, and then to have a poster and post that in a place so that the public and the workforce knows you've taken it seriously and that this place is safe. That, for instance, between seatings, there'll be a sanitization process. That tables won't be preset with utensils and plates. That condiments won't be on the table when you get there. That both workers, as they move around the restaurant, have to wear a face covering. And that patrons wear their face covering.
Hold on. I'm going to have to comment on this. As the resident waitress amongst us here at the Howie Carr Show, I'm going to have to comment on this. When you're trying to wait tables and you've got a million things going on. Maybe you're good at it. Maybe you're like me and you're just mediocre. You got a million things going on. You're sweating. You're usually running on, very little food. You're running around. It's a very physical job, waiting tables. I cannot imagine doing it in a face mask. Not to mention the fact that I usually have makeup on, so it's going to get all over the mask, which is definitely not sanitary. And how are you supposed to talk to people? You're going to lift it up?
Well, you can't get within 6 feet of the table. That's another one of the rules. Wasn't that on the poster? It's on
So
these,
what are you just going to shout?
Documents.
What side do you want with that? I just don't understand how this is going to fly. And
I love
you had a good
these
point,
words.
Howie, with the kitchens. They
I
get
love these
so
words
hot.
too, Grace. Sanitization. Sanitization. The other day, Charlie Parker, the governor, was talking about how he had to go to the barber shop for his first haircut, and he was wearing a mask, and he had to wash his hair beforehand. He had to get his temperature taken. He had to get the test, and then he had to sign an attestation. Now, do you have to sign an attestation before you have the sanitization, Grace? Do you know that? Can we get a clarification on that?
It seems like getting your haircut is going to require as much paperwork as leasing a car. It's getting a little bit insane. By the way, guys, don't forget my birthday special is up. All you have to do is go to howiecarr.com, click on the store. You can pick anything you want. If you go to the catalog, we have cheap bastard deals. We have t-shirts, we have books, whatever you want. The first 150 orders today will get a free mask. So if you order and you're part of the first 150, which if you do it now, you will get a free mask. It doesn't matter what you order. If it's a book, if it's a t-shirt, if it's a bundle, you'll get it. So howiecarr.com. And that is my birthday gift to you because Howie, I'm a giver.
That's right. We'll talk more about this when we return. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Cape Gun Works in Hyannis. During this difficult time, Cape Gun Works is open 7 days a week for all your gun needs. Visit them today or go to capegunworks.com.
Don't you hate it when someone shows up unexpectedly at your door? With the Guardline Outdoor Motion Sensor, you'll always know when someone enters your property. Keep tabs on little ones playing in the yard or teens coming home at night. We're always watching, so you can have peace of mind. Go to guardlinesecurity.com/radio and enter the code radio at checkout for $20 off your order. Guardlinesecurity.com/radio. That's guardlinesecurity.com/radio.
Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days
police
when
story,
hand-washed between
Leslie
uses.
Nielsen
Order
saying
now
nothing
at
to see her folks move
boomernaturals.com. Use
and
code
then
Howie Carr
put that with that guy
checkout
Ali
and save
Vashi.
20%. Get
at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you. It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. You have tanning lotion on, A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced myself to him. Then one time there was Cousin Brucey from WABC, and I used to listen to him driving back and forth between Chapel Hill and Deerfield when I was in college. Everybody on the East Coast listened to him. I couldn't believe that I was in the presence of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd still be good at it?
I'm not a great bidder, but I know how to count cards. That to me is the essence of playing a hand of bridge, is to be able to count cards.
What is a rhino?
Rhino is a Republican in name only. Think Paul Ryan. Oh, think Mitt Romney. Think Jeff Flake.
Hi, my name is Jane Lucas, and I am from the town of South China, Maine.
This is Al from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Hi, I'm Angela from Brewster on the Cape, and this is the one and the only Howie Carr Show.
This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly. The fires have been started, and.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
That, of course, was the Ali Velshi and then Leslie Nielsen. He was also on the scene today, believe it or not, back from beyond. There was another MSNBC reporter, Grace, who said that I'm here in front of the police station where a fire happened.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
It just
fires,
is
man.
Spontaneous combustion.
That's what I say when I try
a
to
police
cook.
station in Minneapolis after.
Howie, when I try to cook in the kitchen, I say the same thing. I'm like, I didn't start this. This happened. I walked in and this happened. And the dinner was there and it was on fire.
As Bill Clinton used to say, mistakes were made.
I'll say, Howie, I want to talk briefly before we get to the poll question. Amy Klobuchar refuses to withdraw a VP bid over prosecutor record criticism. I'm assuming you saw this story, and I want to get your take. She is saying that this is a bold-faced lie, that she thinks Joe Biden will make a good decision on who should be VP. And as for the other matters, I think you better get the facts straight.
Say goodnight, Amy.
Yeah, it's over, Amy.
It's over. It's over.
This was it.
And this guy, all these liberals in Hennepin County, where Minneapolis is, and the state of Minnesota, which is not as conservative as Minneapolis, St. Paul, obviously. I mean, how did they let this guy stay on the police department? He shot that guy that she was involved with not prosecuting. And then after she goes to the Senate, there's a new DA, and he shoots somebody else. He shot a Native American. I don't know the circumstances of that one, but this guy seems to be a bit of a rogue cop, shall we say.
No, Howie, I totally agree with you. And the frustrating thing about this is that there seems to be this diversion of anger to Trump and to Republicans, when really everyone should be angry at this guy because he's created such chaos. Not only did he kill that George Floyd, but now he's created all of these riots, and it's just, it shouldn't be like this. He shouldn't have done that. He's a bad cop. There are bad cops, but that doesn't mean the target needs to burn. I don't know who
I
that
felt sorry
helps.
for. I saw something somewhere of a black store owner just crying and saying, "I worked so hard to get here, and now his store was destroyed." And Al Sharpton saying these ridiculous things like saying, "Why are we going after the black-owned businesses?" Shouldn't Al Sharpton be keeping his mouth shut, considering what happened at that Freddy's Fashion Mart on 125th Street in Harlem? You know, he was talking about white interlopers, and somebody went in and set a fire. Seven people, none of whom were white, by the way, died. You know, I mean, I don't think Al Sharpton needs to get involved in anything about any kind of looting and burning and arson questions at all.
And Howie, just to further your point, there's this, because I know you've brought this up before, and now everyone's setting up these straw men, and specifically who's famous for setting this up is Obama. He's saying this shouldn't be normal about the George Floyd killing. It's not normal. That's why people are so upset. If this was normal, then people would just be, not talking about it. It's the biggest news story in the United States right now. I just don't understand this thing about, you guys shouldn't be acting like this is no big deal. Who's acting like it's no big deal? I'm confused.
Yeah,
who are these people you're talking about?
Let's do do we have time for that? I don't even know if we have time. Today's poll question is brought to you by Grace's Birthday Bargain. Purchase any item or cheap bastard deal on the Howie Carr Show right now, and you'll get a free Boomer Naturals 30-day reusable face covering for free. This is a good deal. Visit HowieCarShow.com and click store. Offer limited to the first 150 orders today. Happy birthday, Grace. And we have
thank you.
We have to set it up by the sound cut. This is from Montgomery County, Maryland. They're announcing the reopening of barbershops. Listen to this, cut 24.
Again, these are Governor Hogan's recommendations. Personal services, hair salons, and barbershops open for hair only, no haircuts, no manicures, none of the, no pedicures.
What? So the barbershops and hair salons will be open, but no hair will be allowed to be cut.
That sounded like I was in the crowd.
What's the poll question there, Jared?
Would you go to a barbershop to get styled but not cut?
No.
No.
86% agree. No, they would not.
I'm worried about that 14%. I'm Howie Carr.
Over the past few weeks, we here at Matthews Brothers have come to realize some interesting things. For example, unless celebrities have a script in front of them, they really don't have much to say. Or even those stuck in the lap of luxury can somehow manage to feel sorry for themselves. And mostly we'll be happy if we never hear the song Imagine ever again. Ever. In our 166-year history, Matthews Brothers has survived a number of epidemics, including scarlet fever, cholera, typhoid, measles, Spanish flu, Asian flu, diphtheria, polio, measles again, whooping cough, bird flu, swine flu, Ebola, Zika, and now COVID. Through it all and through them all, the men and women of Matthews Brothers stood side by side to keep their wicked awesome windows on their journey to builders, contractors, and homeowners all over New England. This time, of course, we stood 6 feet apart, but still, side by side. In a few short weeks, we'll be back to talking about baseball, apple pie, and which politician will be indicted next. But in the meantime, you can learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made windows and doors, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
Did we get any sound on Biden? On this?
No, he really didn't. He only spoke for 6 minutes, and it was all scripted, and he didn't really screw up.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. Thank you. Tell him to put it back up. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview
Jared.
with the Emperor of Hate.
Yes.
Can you get this guy Corbo Bala, the sound cut of him on CBS News? He's the guy that the black guy who lost his bar.
Okay, we'll grab it.
Scarcely a Republican. And there was a reason he was Mitt Romney's running mate, because we had a rhino ticket in 2012.
Where did the expression, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" come from?
That comes from the State House. There used to be a state rep who sometimes would talk about atrocities that were happening in crime. And he would get up there and he would say, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" And I just picked it up and it became a trademark.
Where's your favorite place to go out to eat in Palm Beach?
My favorite place to go in Palm Beach is probably the Honor Bar, which used to be O-Bar, and you can get a really great hamburger there, and they have a great coffee machine that brews each cup of coffee individually.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And I have to say, we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
I will let you know when we have that cut.
Okay.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. This black firefighter in Minneapolis, he had invested his life savings. I guess he was getting near retirement age. He wanted to have a sports bar. You know, some people have a dream that, they want to have the neighborhood pub or a tavern, whatever you want to call it. This guy wanted a sports bar. So he'd been working for it. He'd been planning to open it in March. But then the panic struck and he was shut down. And so he's going to reopen next week, June 1st, Monday, because that was when the city and the state were going to begin cautiously reopening. Although, again, all the deaths, even more deaths than in Massachusetts, over 80% of the deaths in Minnesota are in nursing homes. The average age of the victims is 86.
We have that sound.
But this guy, I think his name is Corboy Bala, and so he was interviewed by CBS News after his bar. It hasn't even opened yet. It was looted. They stole all the booze out of it. They stole all the fixtures. Then they torched it. And he was interviewed by CBS News yesterday morning, and he's a black guy. And this was the protest. His fellow African Americans, basically, probably some other people as well, they burned down his bar to protest the death of another black guy. Here it is. Here's what he's talking about.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We worked so hard to get here. So hard.
Don't know what's happening there. something was going wrong. While he was speaking live on CBS, the looters, I'm not going to call them protesters, I'm not Ali Veshy, the looters were breaking back in to the bar because they knew that, again, as Trump said, the mayor is very weak. Plus, there's nothing you can do in that kind of a rioting situation. Not much you can do. They were breaking back in on live national TV to steal his safe. They wanted to get rid. They wanted to get rid of everything. Do we have the cut?
Today, we found Core Boy Bala, who invested his life savings into opening this sports bar, cleaning up. While our camera was there, looters came back to try to steal his safe.
Right, trying to steal the safe.
I don't know what we're gonna do. That worked so hard to get in. So hard.
So terrible. So terrible. I mean, it's terrible what's happening to all these small businessmen. I mean, he's a victim of looters and events beyond his control. Other people in these blue states have worked hard, and they're just being their businesses are being ravaged, decimated by bureaucrats who have no understanding whatsoever of what they're talking about. That's it's a different kind of devastation, but at the end of the day, their dreams are destroyed, just like that black firefighter in Minneapolis. It's a shame. 844-500-4242. Rick, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rick.
Hey, Howie, it's Rick. A little special pleading. The sisters at the school where my daughter goes are trying to have a camp up in New Hampshire, and they're waiting for the 1st of June to hear what the governor up there has to say. I was hoping you'd have the governor on to try to persuade him to open up those summer camps for the kids.
We've tried to get Governor Chris Sununu. He always comes on, when he's running for re-election and he's in a close race and he's done something good that we can thank him for. But he's been MIA, missing in action, Rick, for a long time now. I wouldn't get my hopes up too much. He's talking about quarantines and extending it, and I don't know. What are they going to do if they can't open the camp, Rick?
Well, it's not a hardship. There's plenty of sunshine down here, but you would think that with the sunshine and fresh air would be the best thing for this.
Right. I know. Yeah. One of the other things that we played some cuts from Montgomery County about how you can barbershops are open, but you can't cut the hair. You can have services in a church parking lot, but you can't go into the church. And you can get your car washed the outside, but you can't get the inside of the car wash, even though you had to come to the outdoor car wash in the inside of the car wash. None of it makes any sense. And another thing they said is that you can have summer camps, but only if the summer camps are open. This is in Montgomery County, Maryland. But you can't, if it starts raining and thundering and lightning, the kids can't go inside to take shelter from the lightning and the torrential downpours. None of this stuff makes any sense, Rick, and you can't expect to reason with these people rationally. They are totally intoxicated with the power that they've taken, and they're not going to give it up without a fight. They don't care, and somehow they think that these polls indicate that they're very popular, and I don't trust any polls, but I particularly don't trust polls that say that governors like Baker, Parker in Massachusetts, or Hogan in Maryland, or Pritzker in Illinois, I don't think they're going to benefit from this long term. I will add Cuomo to that list as well. 844-500-4242. Thanks for the call. Brian, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Howie. So I'm up here in Maine, and every day I listen to Mills, and I can only take a couple seconds of it before I change it. But on social media, I have a lot of liberal friends who early on were posting, about her praises, and CDC Director Shaw, his praises. and he should have a raise and all this. And now a couple of them are restaurant owners. And just today, I was telling my son about it. Just today, one of the same guys posted, okay, enough's enough. It's been 3 months. He posted all the CDC website data that he's been, ranting about for the past 3 months. And now change his tune because he can't open in York County. So, and now it's affecting them personally. Now they're starting to change their tune. I don't know how Mills is going to survive this.
That was an old saying back in the day, Brian. A conservative is a liberal who's been mugged. In the case of your friends, a conservative is a liberal business owner who's been mugged by these ridiculous overreach by Governor Janet Mills and her CDC director, this guy named Shaw, whoever he is.
Yeah.
What are they going to do, Brian? What are they going to do? This is York County, Maine. If you haven't been listening to the show, the governor told everybody that all the restaurants in York and Cumberland counties, which is Portland South and Androscoggin, the 3 southernmost counties, could open. And then a couple of days ago, she said, "You know what? We had 2 fatalities today. I've changed my mind. I'm not going to let the restaurants open." I mean, it's, even the biggest liberal in the world has got to be ripping his hair out, Brian, right?
That's exactly who this guy is. He's a good friend of mine, but he is ripping his hair out, and he's the most liberal guy I know. And he's totally flipped because he has to. I mean, he can't open his tiny little place in York. He doesn't have the space to open up outdoor seating. Right. That's the big thing, too. Everyone, they're saying, oh, well, you should buy some tables and put it out in the parking lot. Well, he doesn't own the land outside the parking lot. So, not to mention the expense and the food that he had bought beforehand. Yeah. That now he just has to dump. I don't know.
Yeah, think about that. Again, she told them they could open up next week, and then 5 days before she changed her mind. So all these people bought food. How about all the people that work for him? Some of them probably worked for him for years. Yeah, taking temporary jobs. They gave up the temporary jobs because they were going back to work for him. And multiply this by hundreds of restaurants, and not just in Maine, not just in those two, 3 counties. This is happening all over the country. These governors and mayors, and in some cases, the unelected boards of health are making these decisions, these imperious decisions, and they have no idea what they're doing. Most of them. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Brian. 844-500-4242. Alice, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Alice.
Hi, Howie. I'm in the New York area. I'm in the suburbs of New York, and we have a lovely town, and we're considered in the Hudson Valley area. And they're just now saying, King Cuomo said phase 1, some of the things can open, but a lot of things can't still open. And the weather is beautiful. The restaurants that have outdoor seating are beautiful little restaurants, small businesses. Mm-hmm. They could be having business. We could be going out. We could be doing a ton of stuff. It's okay to go to Acme or Stop and Shop and do your freaking shopping, but you can't go out and do anything else. This is getting to be really, I'm really angry with everybody.
Alice, I just mentioned the high poll number. Supposedly, Andrew Cuomo, King Cuomo, as you called him, is extremely popular. His favorability numbers, according to the polls, is in the high 70s. Do you buy that?
No, I do buy it because there are a lot of stupid people out there, and all they do is that from the beginning, when they saw the king sitting there and pontificating and bloviating with his words and his calm manner when he was, in fact, actually killing our senior citizens, and then now he's blaming it on Trump. This man is evil. He is an evil person with the abortion bill, letting out all the people from the jails. It's horrible. But unfortunately, we have a lot of stupid people here, and they just love him.
There was another horrible story, no bail. The Democrats finally took over the state Senate in Albany in the 2018 elections. So they've had a run. And so they basically legalized infanticide. And, you can have a post-birth abortion, a partial birth abortion. And people were complaining about that. And King Cuomo, as Alice is calling him, said to the press, said, if you're pro-life, you can leave New York. If you're pro-Second Amendment, you can leave New York. And they also did away with bail to a large degree. Most crimes, you can't get bail. There was another horrible story in the New York Post today about a guy who'd been let out with no bail, a career criminal, and he had attacked an elderly woman and strangled her, suffocated her, and cut off the flow of oxygen to her brain. And then raped her. She's brain dead, all because of this bail reform that's endorsed by King Cuomo. So I mean, all these governors, it's not just the screw up on the sending patients back into the nursing homes or taking hundreds of thousands of dollars in contributions, shall we say, from the nursing homes, and then letting them basically operate unregulated and killing all the old people. It's not just that. They screw up at every level. Pritzker's got all these problems with the state pensions, and Charlie Baker in Massachusetts has got problems with the registry of motor vehicles, and the children's services department. All these things. They screw up everything. These liberal governors. I mean, there's a lesson here. Conservative states are better managed and better run, and they're open now. And the blue states are not. The blue states are a disaster. And that includes ones with rhino governors like Hogan in Maryland and Baker in Massachusetts. I'm Howie Carr.
Keep it here, chumps. More Howie Carr after this.
At Subaru of New England, we believe in vehicles that families can trust, like the all-new 2020 Subaru Outback. Starting at only $26,645. Buy the Outback with 0% financing for up to 63 months. Plus, with your Subaru purchase, get 90-day payment deferral from our participating retailers. It takes love and community to make a difference, and our New England Subaru retailers are committed to being a resource for our neighbors. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts. Skillings.
Yes.
Somebody, I don't know if this is true or not, but a texter says Governor Walz in Minnesota was congratulating the rioters on wearing masks and social distancing. Can you see if there's any of that? See if that's possible? I don't know if it is or not, but it'd be great.
I'll look for it.
Okay, thanks. Skillings Water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. SkillingsandSons.com. I'll take some coffee if you can. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. I've seen a lot of anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second, control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. Not Montana. I'm talking about no, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
I mean,
Ignore me.
that's
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Zuko from Hampton, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
I would assume that if it's not already going on, they'll be calling President Trump a racist tonight for referring to the rioters, the looters in Minneapolis and across the country now as thugs. So I think it's important that we play a cut from 2015, cut 23.
The same organizers now going back into these communities to try to clean up in the aftermath of a handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who tore up the place.
Thugs.
You better watch your microaggressions, bro.
844-500-4242. Incidentally, as they announced this sort of beginning of a reopening in New York City, Mayor de Blasio said that because of the problems with the MTA, the subways and the buses, and, they're going to be fewer on them, I guess. He said that people are going to have to improvise getting to work. Improvise. That's easy for him to say. He has a NYPD SUV that takes him from Manhattan, from Gracie Mansion to his favorite gym in Brooklyn. He doesn't have to improvise. He just has to step outdoors. It's very Marie Antoinette of him. Let them eat cake and improvise. He is the worst mayor ever in the city of New York. Probably close to the worst mayor ever anywhere. Roger, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that as I was watching the riots last night. People forget that the police chief in these big cities is appointed by the mayor. So for the mayor to try to pass the buck, maybe the mayor should have seen that these bad cops were not on the force in the same way with the governor.
Right.
It was his duty to call up the National Guard, and he farted around for a week before he did it. So when I saw the mayor last night tell the police to leave their precinct and run and hide, I think that's why there's a Second Amendment in this country, because people realize that we can't rely on anything anymore.
Well, I've mentioned this repeatedly on the show the last couple of days, but if you want to know how frivolous and how silly Mayor Jacob Fry in Minneapolis is, a week ago, he gave orders to his police department to begin, as of last Tuesday, I guess it didn't take effect, obviously, given what's happened. But as of last Tuesday, he ordered the police department to begin writing out $300 citations to anyone seen in public in the city of Minneapolis who was not wearing a mask, including children as young as 2 years old. That's where his priorities were, Roger. Writing citations to babies.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to write out a citation to all the rioters and the looters last night.
Well, he was asking them to please obey the social distancing rules and to wear they don't call them masks, they call them face coverings. The masks are reserved for the healthcare professionals, So I don't know. Do we have a cut from the mayor here? He's a fool. This is him responding to President Trump saying that he's a weak mayor. You got that?
And I have it here. I can't stand back and watch this happen to a great American city. A total lack of leadership, says the president. Either the very weak radical left mayor Jacob Fry get his act together and bring the city under control, or I will send in the National Guard and get the job done right. That was the first of 2 tweets from the president.
Well, let me say this. Weakness is refusing to take responsibility for your own actions. Weakness is pointing your finger at somebody else during a time of crisis.
He's the mayor. The buck stops here, Mayor. It doesn't stop at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm Howie Carr. You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a
bombshell in 2018.
Finish him, unchained and unstoppable.
Individuals who, when they're under oath, say, I see nothing, I see no collusion, there's nothing. And then I see those people on television saying the opposite. It's a clear message that this is about grandstanding. It angers me as a citizen of this country.
Biden has shown steady, quiet leadership, and that's what people want.
Not a leader.
Leader. Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. It's Grace's birthday on Sunday, and we have a special deal at howiecarrshow.com. Go to howiecarrshow.com, click on store, and if you buy anything while supplies last, you can get a free Boomer Naturals face covering. 844-500-4242. Before we go to the Chump line, I want to play cut 30 here. This is Charlie Parker with a particularly ridiculous statement today as they announced the endless bureaucratic red tape required to reopen a restaurant in Massachusetts someday. Cut 30.
Well, one of the reasons for pursuing an outdoor strategy to begin with is that's an easier and a simpler way for somebody to reintroduce themselves to dining. And I think in some ways, based on the conversations I've had with some of my fellow governors, that has been in many ways one of the reasons for going outdoor first, is it creates a possibility for people in a slightly different kind of setting to sort of return to the restaurant or just return to eating out generally.
Return to dining. So I guess no one's been eating anything for the last 3 months. Is that it, Governor? How about all your hacks that haven't lost a single paycheck?
Don't know.
Oh, God. Reintroduce yourself to dining. Oh, what would we do without our leader, Taldeval? Time now for the Chump line.
I was just wondering, does Greta Thunberg have anything to say about Massachusetts restaurants using plastic utensils?
Does she?
How dare you?
You have stolen my silverware. People are texting in from the free states saying that they or their relatives or their friends went out to dinner the other night, and guess what? They had silverware. We will not see that again in Massachusetts. The lights are going out all over Europe, and the silverware is going into the drawers all over Massachusetts restaurants.
Hi, I'd like to make a reservation for 2. I don't know if you have room by the dumpster out back, a party of 2, or can I get a party of 6 on the sidewalk with the gutter view?
Yeah, some of these towns are talking about shutting off a lane or cutting the parking in front of the restaurant so they can put out more tables. I mean, there's nothing like that asphalt ambiance, especially in the hot summer sun.
Free of charge, we'll throw in a couple of vagrants.
I remember being in Lowell one time, and they were doing all the outdoor dining, and I thought, this is like a hobo magnet here. Oh my goodness. The Chump line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, this week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Good evening, Chanticleer.
Yes, do you have takeout? I'd like an order of the grilled center-cut swordfish and an order of the Misty Knoll chicken. To go, please.
Misty Knoll chicken. That has the ring of a true menu item at the Chanticleer Inn on Nantucket. Are there any lobster-drawn butter to go, please? I wonder if you can have lobster drawn butter anymore, because they said all the condiments, which I guess butter is technically a condiment, right? It all has to be wrapped. You can't have any open condiments anymore. Not even if the Chanticleer on there and talking.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. Of course I know my history. The fact is, when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, Teddy Roosevelt went on TV and said, come on, man. And when the French attacked Gettysburg, President Lincoln went on the radio and gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. I mean it.
Joe Biden, he spoke today. He was reading from a teleprompter, and it must be like a special new teleprompter with the lettering very high, because he didn't screw up that much. But he was talking about how he couldn't believe
got him the big screen teleprompter.
But he was talking about how the cop hadn't been arrested, and the cop had been arrested about 30 minutes earlier. But for Joe, that's minor.
At least he's dealing in matters of this century.
That's right. I've spoken to Mayor Daley. He's assured me that he's going to do everything he can to end the protesting that's going on.
If Joe's referencing something from this decade, he's having a good day.
Taylor, do you think it's time for me to start selling Honest Howie's plastic silverware for all the steakhouses in Massachusetts?
Yeah, the really good stuff where the knives are barely serrated and they bend at the slightest pressure.
Now, these are really good steak knives. Honest Howie's steak knives.
If Charlie Parker is going to run all the restaurants, does that mean Elizabeth Warren is in charge of reservations?
Very good.
Excuse me, waitress. I broke my fork and knife again trying to cut my steak. It's very hard trying to cut very thick steak with very plastic things.
Suddenly, hamburger steak is going to be very popular. Salisbury steak. Porterhouse, not so much.
I guess we're going to have to wait till somebody catches, pay-to-play Polito out at a fancy restaurant with over 10 people at a table to change the rules.
Yeah, six people is the maximum now. If you haven't looked at the new regulations, how about if we catch her with a real knife that's not plastic? And is there going to be they always say like at the No Name in the old days, the No Name Fish Restaurant, BYOB, bring your own booze, your own beer. Is it going to be BYOF, bring your own fork?
I think I speak for most Massachusetts residents when I say we'll gladly take all these new restaurant regulations if you just bring back happy hour.
Happy hour. That was ended in, I think, 1983. Mike Dukakis came back, and he had been really angry for 4 years because he'd been seeing people having a good time. And he decided 2 for 1 had to go. He got rid of it.
Howie, I drove from Cape Cod to New Hampshire yesterday to have lunch at a restaurant right at the beach, sitting outside. Tell me again why we can't do this in Cape Cod.
I can't. It's horrible. It's really, really bad. And it's the same thing in southern Maine. I mean, people who would normally be in York, Wells, Gunkwit this weekend, probably all the way north to Portland and Freeport. They're going to be heading down to New Hampshire. I mean, this is a boon. I mean, New Hampshire isn't totally open. It ain't Texas or Florida, but any port in the storm, as they say.
Hi, Howie. It's Jay. My birthday is tomorrow. It's Grace's birthday on Sunday. So does that make Monday a state holiday?
Happy birthday, Jay. I'm glad you're hanging in there. And what can I get you? I'll think of something. Maybe I'll send you a postcard.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Balloon Head's age now matches her IQ.
Oh, wow. He usually only makes an appearance on Hate Mail Monday.
How dare you?
Grace, some people have been saying that you've been 28 now for 2 or 3 years in a row. I know that's not true, but do you want to deny it personally?
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who is age shamed. I'm 28 and I'm proud of it. 28 years young. And I plan on being 28 years young for a really long time.
Go ahead.
That was your last Chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. If you can't get enough of the Chump Line, we have Chop Chumps. That's a podcast that goes up at 7 o'clock every night right after the show. All the messages that didn't make the Chump Line for one reason or another. Get Chop Chumps wherever you get your Howie Carr podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Hi, I'd like to make a reservation for 2. I don't know if you have room by the dumpster out back, a party of 2, or can I get a party of 6 on the sidewalk with the gutter view?
Some restaurants, big restaurants, have these rooms, named after the original founder of the restaurant or the famous battle in the town. So all these restaurants that are going to be out on the sidewalk, are they going to call it the asphalt room? The concrete room? 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the guru of craft. It's Howie Carr.
Cape Gunworks has added virtual online classes during this difficult time. Based in Hyannis, Cape Gunworks remains open 7 days a week for all of your gun and ammo needs. The range is also open full-time. Cape Gunworks now carries the MyCube Survival Safe. This safe is good for ammo, cash, and your pistol. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com. capegunworks.com. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And VB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't...
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
It's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Today's poll question is brought to you by Grace's Birthday Bargain. Purchase any item or cheap bastard deal on the Howie Carr Show store at the Howie Carr Show store, and you'll get a free Boomer Naturals 30-day reusable face covering for free. Visit HowieCarrShow.com and click store. Offer limited to the first 150 orders. Happy birthday, Grace. So get it now. It's a good deal, and we're already running low. We should play again. I want to play. I keep wanting to play the cut over and over again to set this up because I somehow doubt people are going to believe it. But this was in Montgomery County, Maryland, home of the illegal alien rapists who run amok. Now they're cracking down on citizens. This is the county executive, Mark Elrich, announcing the new plans, trying to blame it on the Republican governor, Larry Hogan, or as they call him in Maryland, some people, Larry Parker, after our governor. Cut 24.
Again, these are Governor Hogan's recommendations. Personal services, hair salons and barbershops open for hair only, no haircuts, no manicures, none of the, no pedicures. Houses of work.
What's a Barbie shop? Is that a doll store?
I love that. What? I think she was speaking for a nation when she said, what? So what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Would you go to a Barbie shop or hair salon just to get your hair styled but not cut?
No, I wouldn't.
88% wouldn't.
It's moving up, but I'm still surprised it's 12% would go. People are suggesting on the tech.
Even in Massachusetts, Howie, you have to wet your own hair before you go to the barber shop if you want to get it cut.
I know. I heard Charlie Parker say that the other day, and you have to sign an attestation as to the sanitization, or as somebody said when Karen Polino mentioned sanitization, he said that she must have meant insanitization because that's what all these plans are. 844-500-4242. There is no sound cut from the mayor of Minneapolis saying that the protesters should wear masks. The looters should wear masks. but there is a text out on it. The city encourages everyone. This is a press release they put out. The city encourages everyone to exercise caution to stay safe while participating in demonstrations. Don't burn your fingers when you're setting a store on fire, including wearing masks and physical distancing as much as possible to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The city has made hundreds of masks available to protesters this week. The city has made hundreds of masks available to protesters. I don't need a mask, pal, but I ran out of matches for my Molotov cocktail. How am I going to throw something through the front window of the sports bar? Can you lend me some gasoline? My fire's going out. How crazy are these people? Here's a tweet from Mara Healey. Hold it, Healey, the Massachusetts Attorney General. If the protests in Minnesota don't make sense to you, how would you feel if your son was strangled to death by the police? If a journalist was arrested for covering the murder, but not the killers themselves? Well, they have been arrested, or one of them has been arrested. If your own president threatened to shoot you, when did he threaten to shoot anybody? Can we have Twitter come down on Mara Healey? She's lying. Can we have a fact check from the director of integrity? If your own president threatened to shoot you. Oh my God. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr. We all shop online, and now you can do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing that, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's crisp.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time. Oh, la, 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 la.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, ordered by, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt B has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians do.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't...
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. This just in from Maine. Janet Mills campground restrictions violate constitutional rights, Department of Justice says. Janet Mills' 14-day quarantine order for people coming into Maine is unconstitutional because it discriminates against out-of-staters who want to use the state's campgrounds, the U.S. Department of Justice said in a filing Friday. The state's being sued by a bunch of campground owners in Scarborough who have basically been almost put out of business by this quarantine order. The brief was filed in a lawsuit filed in federal court in Portland by campground and restaurant owners in southern Maine. It asked U.S. District Judge Lance Walker, who's a Trump appointee, to lift the quarantine order. The United States Constitution requires government to protect the privileges and immunities of all citizens in our nation, said the Justice Department. I believe it's Article 4, Section 2. These privileges and immunities include the right of Americans to travel freely anywhere in the country, and state governments cannot limit the out-of-state Americans to travel to their state unless doing so is substantially related to protecting the public safety. Again, 81 people dead in Maine in the last 3 months because of this, and most of them in nursing homes, as in other places. So the governor says she's deeply disappointed in the ruling. All right. We'll see how this plays out. But again, it's a federal judge in Kentucky has already thrown out the quarantine state in Kentucky. So the quarantine order in Kentucky. So maybe they got a shot in Scarborough and elsewhere. All right. Time now for Police Blotter Facts Friday.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action.
You know how it works. All week long, we ask you to send in your funny stories or items from your local daily or weekly newspaper, the column that some police departments run, Police Log, Police Blotter. It could be a standalone story. Send it to grace@howiecarrshow.com, grace@howiecarrshow.com. And you can still send it to our fax Number 857-284-8864, 857-284-8864. At this time each Friday evening, we read the funniest entries of the week in our opinion, and the 2 top entries of the week get a nice prize. What do they get this week, Grace?
They're going to get a copy of Kennedy Babylon 1, and I'm going to throw in a boomer mask.
Ooh, it's a special day. It's your birthday.
Yes, indeed. It's a birthday special. Okay, everyone. So here are the runners-up. They do not win a prize. Nude man allegedly spent entire day destroying...
Why did you call him a nude man? He's a naked man.
I like to read the exact reports, Howie. This is not CNN. I deliver the real news. A nude man allegedly spent the entire day destroying a Florida school. A naked man broke into a locked Florida high school, apparently to trash the building, causing $100,000 worth of damage.
Good Lord.
During a 22-hour vandalism spree.
You would have thought if he was naked, he would have cut his feet somewhere. He must have broken some glasses, and didn't he step on something?
I don't know, but he had a lot of graffiti, and he flooded sections of the building, like the wet bandits in Home Alone. Get the sinks running, you can cause a lot of damage. Woman accused of spitting on groceries, threatening Publix customers. This is out of Largo, Florida, and this police blotter was given to me by McKay.
Who's employed at Publix when he's not working for me.
Police said they were called to the Largo Mall around noon because Sharon Turpin was spitting on groceries, threatening to beat up customers in the bathroom, and arguing with the store manager. She really had a lot going on that day.
Was alcohol involved in this tragic incident?
Well, it's interesting because I almost think this is something where she had an axe to grind, because reading the story, it says records show Turpin had already been trespassed from the property in 2014, so she wasn't allowed to be at the store.
Boy, she holds a grudge, huh?
She also
6 years later, she comes back for revenge.
I know. Sharon does not forget. Man sleeps at wheel, blocks road for over an hour, says he had 4 coronas.
He had corona? He tested positive?
No, he had 4 Corona beers.
What did he test positive for when they gave him the breathalyzer?
Well, he tested positive. It just says he failed his tests and he had very watery and bloodshot eyes. I find, Howie, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, the more specific people get about what they drank, the more drunk they usually are. Like if a guy tells me, oh, no, I had 4 Coronas, I'm like, I don't believe you.
Well, I think, don't you have to double or triple whatever they say?
Yeah, in this case, by looking at this man, I'm going to say triple. He looks pretty drunk. Spilled milk, stolen cigarettes.
What?
A woman attacks her roommate. 49-year-old Lisa Goodman was charged with domestic assault after she shoved Matthew Cower in the chest and threw a bowl of cereal at him during an argument.
Barbaric.
Oh, I hate that. You know what would be worse?
What?
If the cereal had milk on it. That would be the worst of all. I hate the smell of milk.
Oh, and then it's dripping on you, and then it gets on your blanket or something, and then it starts to
What kind of
smell.
cereal was it? Was it Lucky Charms or Special K?
It does not say, but I called the police department.
Hurleos.
And no, I'm going to guess that it was probably a mini wheats or something like that, because those can do some serious damage. They pack a punch.
When life hits you hard.
This was a domestic disturbance. Cower claimed that Lisa came into his room and took 2 cigarettes without his permission. That's when he confronted her. She began screaming in anger. She shoved him in the chest, and then he was nearly hit by a bowl of cereal. The assault was not Goodman's first offense in the household, of which Cower stated he was tired of being put in fear by her.
Wow.
Yeah. I like this story.
You know what, Grace? This is going to be even worse. You know, people in Massachusetts are in a bad enough mood. Do you realize that we're almost exactly 1 month away from a very terrible moment in cigarette history?
No. What moment?
Menthol cigarettes are going to be outlawed in Massachusetts at the end of the fiscal year.
I thought you were going to say cereal is going to be outlawed.
No.
Because I didn't know what made you think of that.
No,
yeah,
everybody's going to have to drive to New Hampshire to buy menthol cigarettes if they want them. But on the other hand, look on the bright side. You're already going up to New Hampshire to have a meal.
I have a pack of Virginia Slims that someone gave me as a joke for my birthday last year. And when I was moving, my fiance said to me, do we really have to keep these? You're never going to use them. And I said, oh, yeah, but we have to keep them. It's a memento. So if anyone needs a Virginia Slim, I still got one pack.
You know what I have, Grace, at home? I don't know where it is now since I packed up when we sold the house. I have a pack of Mike Dukakis cigarettes from 1988.
Wow. You always have to one-up me. That beats my Virginia Slims, Mike Dukakis cigarettes. Okay, Howie. Nashville's fittest man passes out behind the wheel, vomits on self.
Well, alcohol was certainly involved in this incident.
Yes. 23-year-old Hal, as he's known to his friends, P. Fisher, was charged with driving under the influence after he was found passed out behind the wheel of a truck.
Hal P. Fisher.
He was Nashville's fittest man, as named by Nashville Fit magazine in 2019. A high honor, I'm sure.
High. Well, as Rudyard Kipling once said, Grace, there comes a night when the best get tight.
Oh, I almost had it. I love that quote. Australian. Okay, so this is definitely the weirdest story of the week. Okay. Now follow me here. There's a couple elements to this. Australian man acquitted after 2 allegedly enter wrong home with machetes for sexual fantasy and scare a stranger.
Crikey, mate.
Yes. Get it
I've misplaced me Fosters.
Gotta see a man about a wallaby.
Tie me kangaroo down, sport.
2 men snuck into a bedroom with machetes after being hired to carry out a stranger's sexual fantasy of being tied up in his underwear and stroked with a broom, only to discover they had got the wrong address. Classic mix-up.
Stroked with a broom?
They made their apologies and left the startled victim's bedside as soon as they realized their mistake. Terrence Leroy has now been acquitted because the judge said the facts of the case are unusual. They carried the machetes either as props or something to use in that fantasy. The fantasy was unscripted and there was a discretion as to how it would be carried out. So it would seem that the judge was a little lenient because this was someone's sexual fantasy. Obviously not this person's who was startled by it. But I would sue if I was that. That's emotional damage, Howie. 2 guys show up in your house with a machete.
I agree. If I were the victim, I'd be very disturbed that they hadn't done any time for this.
Okay, now we have a bird in the news, but first I want to let everyone know that Police Blotter Facts Friday, as always, is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. They support this segment, and they also sponsor a lot of our other fabulous segments. We love Piantadosi bread. They are the best in the business. Make sure you check them out at your local markets.
I do have a question for Howie.
Yes.
Those Dukakis cigarettes. Do you still have the cigarettes in the pack, or is it opened and used?
No, I have it. The cellophane is still around it.
Okay, I'm seeing some packs on eBay. You know what they're selling for?
How much?
$14.99.
Oh,
about a regular pack.
Wow.
I thought that's going to be like a Beanie Baby thing. It's worth $4,000.
People are telling me I could smoke the Duke cigarettes with a can of Billy beer.
India arrests pigeon on suspicion of spying for Pakistan.
They're just a human being.
Police detained a pigeon in India on Tuesday on suspicion of spying for the Pakistani state.
You know what they were trying to do, Grace?
What?
They were trying to flip that pigeon and turn him into a stool pigeon.
Very good. Officials discovered a coded ring attached to its foot. The pigeon, painted pink, was captured by villagers.
If you were going to use a pigeon as a spy, why would you paint him pink?
Well,
that seems like a real mistake by the Pakistani secret police or the spies.
But they still need to be able to find him eventually.
There is that, I guess.
But Howie, this gives me memories of the pigeons in Las Vegas who had those little MAGA hats taped to their head.
Right.
And then the other ones that had the cowboy hats taped to their head. And at first it was like, what could be better than a pigeon with a cowboy hat? But then people started to say, wait a second, someone had to glue these on. Woman spit on shopper in one-way row. A Connecticut woman allegedly spit in the face of a fellow shopper when the victim violated a supermarket social distancing guidelines by going the wrong direction in a one-way aisle.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Martine Shanshuk a 40-year-old Sandy Hook resident confronted the male victim inside a Big Y market. As part of the store's coronavirus safety measures, one-way aisles have been established. Everybody knows they're doing this. Upon spotting the man going the wrong direction in the aisle, she told police she felt it was necessary to tell him to turn around and enforce Big Y's aisle rules herself.
So was her name had to be Karen?
No, it was Martine.
But really, she's a Karen,
essence,
though, isn't
her
she?
Her essence was very Karen, for sure.
Right.
She then told cops that she just stopped in the aisle to prevent him from continuing down the aisle in the wrong direction. She continued to yell at the man who was not listening to her. Then she removed her face mask and spit in the man's face.
How could this one not win, Grace?
It's a really good one, but honestly, my two winners are out of this world, and we will get to them on the other side. You guys don't want to miss these two.
You know, the Australian case where the guys broke in with the machetes and they were supposed to use a broom on the guy inside?
Yes.
Limerick guy says the judge broomed the case.
He did. He gave them a very light sentence.
We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. It's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by 110 Grill, now open for outdoor dining on their beautiful patios in New Hampshire. To find your nearest location, sign up for their loyalty program, or to order takeout, go to 110grill.com. Hey campers, this is Howie Carr. Camping season is here and Cold Springs RV is ready for you. If a new or pre-owned camper has been on your wish list, check out the great specials online at coldspringsrv.com. The inventory that was purchased for the RV show that was canceled is now bursting at the seams. Now is the time to score a great deal. Visit coldspringsrv.com for RV specials, as well as information on hours and operations. Safety is Cold Springs RV's top priority, so please visit the website to learn more. If it is service you need, the brand new state-of-the-art facility is ready for you, servicing all makes and brands. If your RV needs body work, whether it's a collision repair, roof replacement, or a new paint job, they have you covered. From minor repairs to major insurance jobs, Cold Springs RV can do it all. Their body shop works with all insurance companies. As a full-service RV dealer, you know they can fix just about anything. Cold Springs RV, Route 114, Ware, New Hampshire. coldspringsrv.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Limerick guy is on fire today, Grace. He says there was a Pakistanis who were using the pink pigeon. They were trying to pull off a coup.
Ha, 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 ha.
Very good.
And Paul, the UPS guy, wants to know what was the name of the stool pigeon.
Homer the pigeon.
Homer the pigeon. Okay.
Yes. All right. So, guys, I'm going to get right to our winners because we also have some sound that goes with these stories. I want to start. School teacher and youth pastor who claimed he had been kidnapped when he was robbed in a motel room is charged with solicitation after it emerged he had arranged to meet man on Craigslist for sex.
You sure you didn't hire a couple of guys with machetes?
No.
From Australia?
The Bibb County Sheriff's Office arrested 56-year-old Christopher Keys and are investigating the robbery that he had initially reported on May 19th. They were investigating a rumor of a carjacking at a CVS, but determined that no such incident took place. Deputies learned that Keys was the victim in both alleged incidences and had spoken with him the day before. According to an incident report, deputies met with Keys at the Regency Inn and Suites.
Where is this, by the way?
Georgia.
Okay.
According to an incident report, deputies met Keys at the Regency Inn and Suites for an alleged armed robbery. Keys explained to deputies that he was supposed to meet a man in his hotel room, having responded to an ad on Craigslist. An investigation revealed that Keys had been frequently visiting the hotel since January. Keys is a Bible youth pastor in the area and a former teacher for the private Christian school.
You see, Grace, here's another victim of Governor Kemp ending the lockdown in Georgia.
Indeed.
If this guy was still quarantined at home, he wouldn't be under arrest.
Now, Howie, this next story is my favorite we've had in a long time, mostly because of the audio that goes with it. Man says he broke into San Diego Wells Fargo Bank to heat up his Hot Pockets.
To what?
To heat up his Hot Pockets.
Did they have a mic? Did he know there was a microwave oven? Had he been scouting out the place?
It's interesting you should say that because he broke in at 3:30 a.m. When they came, the police didn't arrive for an hour after the alarms went off. I don't want to get into why they didn't show up for so long.
Again, they were quarantined. Grace, don't you know there's a quarantine, stay-at-home order? It applies to the police in San Diego as well, apparently.
He went through a broken window near the bank's drive-through. When they got there, he was in the break room using the microwave. After about an hour, officers broke through the front doors and located the man inside. He said he entered the bank just so he could microwave his Hot Pockets. When asked if the Hot Pockets were worth it, the man responded, "Hell yeah, it was worth it." And
no, he probably responded, "Hell yeah."
No, we actually have the audio, Taylor.
We do?
Broke into a bank for a Hot Pocket.
Hot Pocket.
For a Hot Pocket. Was it worth it?
Hell yeah, it's worth it.
I love how the cops and him saying, Hot Pocket.
I said the same thing when I read the story. I was like, Hot Pocket. So, guys, these are your police blotters for the week. Those are your two winners. You will be getting a copy of Kennedy Babylon 1 and a free mask. Don't forget to check out the website because the first 150 orders will get a free Boomer Naturals mask as part of my birthday extravaganza.
We think that the cereal that the guy was assaulted with,
yeah,
Sugar Smacks.
Oh, good one.
I'm Howie Carr.
Ha ha ha.
Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycons start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go.
Friday night.
I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe
in the Second Amendment, it's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation.
If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are
Taylor.
new arrivals, and
Yep.
How are the mask specials holding out?
Hold on. Still have plenty left. We've run a lot of specials lately, so
Okay. We'll look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to?
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
You blind? Are you blind?
And, we haven't even started talking about the tweets of the president of the United States adding just that much fire.
Right now, there are actual flames. There is an actual fire. And the president is once again using Twitter to stoke those flames.
This is what Trump's America looks like now.
Oh, God, not this again.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Just walking away from this platform you've been so critical of?
Well, you know, if you weren't fake, I would not even think about it. I would do that in a heartbeat. But the news is fake.
It's a fact.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
On Twitter, shouldn't the president be fact-checked? Especially this president.
If you're going to get into the fact-checking business, there's no one that should be fact-checked more than the mainstream media that has been continually wrong about a number of things. ABC News in December of 2017 falsely reported that Flynn would testify that the president directed him.
Excellent.
Your network, CNN, botched their WikiLeaks email exclusive and were forced to make on-air corrections.
Excellent.
CNN's Jim Sciutto dropped a fictional bombshell in 2018.
Finish him. Unchained and unstoppable.
Individuals who, when they're under oath, say, I see nothing, I see no collusion, there's nothing, and then I see those people on television saying the opposite. It's a clear message that this is about grandstanding. It angers me as a citizen of this country.
Biden is showing steady, quiet leadership, and that's what people want.
Not a leader. Not a leader.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. As you know, we spoke about it earlier today. The Baker-Polito administration rules for thee, but not for me. They announced their new plans for the restaurant industry and the hospitality industry, hotels, motels, reopening down the road as time goes on. It's very complicated, very red tape oriented plan, and there's many aspects to it. Most of them are onerous beyond belief, and we'll get into them as time goes on. And I wanted to speak though with Eric Hines. His family owns a number of restaurants on the near South Shore, including Precinct 10 in Weymouth and Stockholders and other places. And he's the leader of a group of restaurants that's been trying to get the state reopened. I want to get his reaction to this plan. The restaurants can start reopening with outdoor dining on June 8th, which is a week from Monday, and but no places without outdoor dining can open before June 22nd at the very, very earliest. So, Eric, what's your take on this plan that was released today?
Can I come stay on your couch in Florida? We can open up maybe a hot dog stand on the beach or something. Is that possible? We'll start a brand new life together.
I'm sorry, Eric. I saw this thing this morning, and I just said, do you get the feeling that the people who wrote this not only have never worked in a restaurant or operated like me or operated a restaurant like you, but have never even dined in a restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, some of these things are going to be tricky, honestly. I mean, I think the number is close to 75% of restaurants in Massachusetts don't currently have outside dining. So, to kind of retrofit restaurants that, don't have that already, it's going to be tough. I mean, you're going to have, if you're going to set up shop in a parking lot or a sidewalk, you're going to need Jersey barriers, you're going to need a tent, you're going to need extra furniture. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And, I mean, yes, we have a week to plan for it, but, it's going to be kind of a cost-benefit analysis here because we have to determine, for restaurants that don't have patios already, is it worth it? It's going to be some added costs. And the issue is if the restaurants that are doing takeout right now but don't offer outside seating normally, they're going to have to compete with restaurants that are going to be opening up their patios. So, for example, at Stockholders in Weymouth, we don't have outside seating. And we've been doing great for takeout, but that number is going to drop off significantly once restaurants that have outside seating open up.
And the takeout was still a fraction of what you were doing before, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, takeout is something. I mean, it helps you pay the bills, but if we're looking at revenue, it's easily down 80%.
80%. I'm just going to read you a couple of these new regulations here and get your response to them.
Sure.
All workers must wash their hands frequently, and table servers must wash their hands or apply hand sanitizer between each table interaction. Each table interaction.
Yeah, I mean, hand washing is kind of common sense. I mean, if that has to be written down right now, I don't know what the hell these restaurants were doing before all this happened. Were they not washing their hands then? I mean, it's, we're trained so heavily in sanitization and cleanliness. I mean, hand washing constantly. I mean, this is nothing new. We can, easily adapt to that. I mean, there's no need for a bullet point.
But doesn't that mean that if you have to go back to the station to pick up something else, you have to wash your hands before you go back?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it does. Servers are going to have to be really cognizant of what they're touching, especially in front of people that, kind of want to see those types of things going on. But, again, I mean, the bigger issue is not necessarily that. I mean, we can certainly adapt to that. There's no problem at all. It's a little bit more work, but we'll do what we have to do to survive. The bigger issue is the fact that, outside seating is delayed another week and inside dining is delayed even more than that. I mean, several more on top, probably for another 3 weeks. I think June 22nd is probably the earliest possible date for inside dining. So every day and every week that goes by puts more and more restaurants out of business and puts more and more jobs in the permanently gone category. It's scary. We don't have the time to wait.
Do you get the feeling that they just don't understand that even now, even after all your complaints and your calls and your attempts to reach out through legislators and others to the administration?
To be honest with you, at this point, I'm left completely baffled. I don't understand it. I don't understand how Walmart can be open. I don't understand how other retailers can be opened. I mean, it's like, restaurants are just an afterthought. I don't understand the thought process. I get that they're looking at, health metrics. I don't know what exactly those are, but, they're looking at something. And for whatever reason, it indicates to them that restaurants aren't as safe as anything else. And that doesn't make sense to me. We're the cleanest industry that there is. And I understand that it involves people sitting down, for an extended period of time to eat, but let's have some personal responsibility and use common sense. I mean, this is America's a great country. We were founded on personal freedoms and civil liberties, and we should go back to that. We've gotten too far away from it. We should allow people to come back in if they want to come back in. If they don't have to. But rest assured, business owners have a stake in making sure their businesses survive, and that means that we'll do the right thing to ensure that.
Eric, we're speaking to Eric Hines from stockholders and Precinct 10 and other restaurants. What do you think when you read things like this, Eric? When possible, reservations or call-ahead seating should be encouraged. Did you ever think of that?
I mean, listen. Again, I didn't write this.
How about all the restaurants should be divided into stations, and each server should have a specific station. I'll bet you never thought of that, Eric.
A novel idea, just like the novel coronavirus. But I don't know. I mean, these are things that we currently do already, and we feel very confident that we need to get people back to work. And again, we trust the general public to make decisions that are best for their personal lives. So, they should be able to trust us just like they trust a Walmart or they trust a flower store or, any other businesses that are currently open, which is most of them in some degree other than restaurants. They should be able to trust us, and they can, and, trust themselves to make the right decisions.
Did I read it properly that they don't want any more silverware in the restaurants?
It seems like they're, again, encouraging single-use silverware. I don't have an exact answer as to whether or not, thoroughly washed and sanitized, regular silverware will be okay. My thought is that it will be as long as the table's not preset with it. So basically, people are going to walk into a restaurant at whatever point, and it'll be an empty table, which is fine. But, I can promise everyone that we do wash our silverware and sanitize it, thoroughly. We've been doing it for years because that's what you do.
I'm not worried. I'm just worried about trying to cut my steak with a plastic knife.
Yeah, that's not going to be possible. So I I'm pretty confident that, if we just don't set the tables with the silverware, that will be enough. But we actually have to be open to that.
What about keeping the waitresses or waitstaff 6 feet away from the table? I mean, that's kind of impractical, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think that servers will, obviously they'll have to wear masks because that's what they're told to do. So they'll have to do that. And they'll go to the table and probably get away from the table as quickly as they possibly can. It kind of goes in the face of everything that is inherent in hospitality.
Right.
This is the hospitality business. It's about welcoming people in. And this is everything that we're being forced to do is, perfectly against that whole philosophy. So it's going to be tough. Listen, we're ready to welcome people back in. I know all restaurant owners are, and or most of them anyway. And we're going to care for the well-being of our guests. That's why we're here. We just have to be afforded the opportunity to do it. And I just don't understand why more and more days and weeks have to go by before we can get the chance.
So some of the things that are there, like no stools at the bars. I mean, that's not good. But it's going on down here in Florida. And the silver lining is in Florida or any kind of sane state, you figure eventually the stools are going to come back to the bars, right? But in Massachusetts, you don't know that given the track record of this administration and their complete overreaction to everything that's happened.
Yeah, we seem to be last in the country in every category in terms of reopening things. So, I'm not confident that we're going to see bars anytime soon. I understand, bars are congregational areas. People like to gather there. But we could do the same thing at bars that we do in dining rooms or outside patios where, you keep 6 feet in between parties. We could certainly, do that. And, obviously bartenders would wear masks and whatever else they need to do in order to make it happen. So I'm not quite sure why bars are outlawed. It's another question that I have.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Well, Eric, again, if restaurant owners that don't know what your group is about, give us your web address so they can reach out and maybe join with you and try to lobby a little more to get some further loosening in these absurd restrictions.
Yeah, we started a group of restaurant owners from around the state a couple of weeks ago, almost accidentally. We never intended to do it, but it just came together out of pure passion, for what they do, their livelihoods, and frustration. So we have, probably 300 owners on now, representing close to probably 600 different locations across the state. And our only goal is to save businesses and jobs and be a voice. So if anyone who owns a restaurant of any size, any style wants to join us and, do the best we can with this thing, they can go to marestaurantgroup.com.
Okay. Eric Hines, good luck. I'm Howie Carr.
Don't touch that dial. Howie Carr will be back after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Moby Dick's on Route 6 in Wellfleet. Don't let the lines deter you. It's worth the wait. From seafood gumbo to lobster rolls, Moby Dick's has it all. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. Will you put Grace on here? You'll get more metal for your money.
Hold on.
Call 800-912-2300. You went.
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As
Taylor.
a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to.
Yep.
Make sure that this guy, Sean Dooley, wants to come on and say, renounce it, confess his sins for being a baker guy. Is he willing to make sure Grace checks that out with him?
Wouldn't it be better if you checked that out with him on air?
I guess, but I don't know what he's coming on for, That's what I'm saying. I just don't know I want him to attack Baker. But yeah, I'll put him on. That's okay.
Well, I'll have Grace check.
New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I called this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
This is the president once again just thumping his chest and acting like he is the dictator that I think he wants to be.
The president of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation.
People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. This is more the actions of a dictator.
He totally wants to be a dictator. It's so obvious.
Much like Hitler took over the Nazi party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
He went full Hitler.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century.
It's simply a Stalinist phrase, for God's sake.
He sounded not like a president of the United States. He actually sounded like Saddam Hussein.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is The Howie Carr Show.
People from New Hampshire are texting me saying, can you get Sununu on to discuss this? Because he seems to be as insane as Charlie Parker or Janet Mills, for that matter. Not quite as bad, but I would love to get him on. We've tried to get him on repeatedly. He won't come on. So if Chris Sununu is listening, the door is always open. We want to have you in here to discuss why you want to keep the state shut down. I mean, and again, I know it's not as bad as Maine or Massachusetts, but could be better. Could be better. You're not going to make all that much money from just having the monopoly on menthol cigarettes come July 1st. Today's poll question is brought to you by Grace's Birthday Bargain. Purchase any item or cheap bastard deal at the Howie Carr Show store, and you'll get a free Boomer Naturals 30-day reusable face covering for free. Visit HowieCarrShow.com and click store. Offer limited to the first 150 orders. Happy birthday, Grace. And again, this is from Montgomery County, Maryland today. This is an announcement by the county executive, and he's blaming it on the Republican governor, the Rhino Republican governor. But listen to what he's gonna propose here. 24.
Again, these are Governor Hogan's recommendations. Personal services, hair salons, and barbershops open for hair only. No haircuts, no manicures, none of the no pedicures.
The hair salons and the barbershops will be open, but not for any haircuts. Sounds like a great deal.
The bars will be open, no booze. You can just sit.
Yeah, the stadium will be open for a football game on Sunday, but there won't be a football game. You can just look at the grass.
The gyms will be open. Please don't use the equipment. Just look at yourself in the mirror and be sad.
So what's the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Would you go to a barber shop or hair salon just to get your hair styled but not cut?
Hell no.
Yeah, 88% say no.
Okay, I just want to read something. A friend of mine sent this to me today, and it's a pretty good rant. And he's written about Massachusetts, but it could apply to any of these locked down states all around the country, the blue states. Waiting for a meeting to start, so I had a few minutes to pull some numbers off the Google machine. Facts as of today, according to Google. Florida, population 21.5 million, about 3 times Massachusetts, which is just under 7 million. Florida's biggest city, Jacksonville, has a population over 900K. Boston's is just under 700,000. Massachusetts has 6,300 Rona deaths. Florida has 2,200 Rona deaths. Texas population is 29 million people, more than 4 times the size of Massachusetts. They have 5 cities with populations bigger than Boston's, 2 over 1 million, and 1, Houston, has more than 2 million people. Texas has just over 1,500 coronavirus deaths. Florida, few people wearing masks. Everything is open. Texas, wide open and not a mask in sight. In fact, some establishments are banning masks. Massachusetts, most people are wearing masks and most things are closed. But the Massachusetts politicians and a big chunk of the population say we are the ones doing things the right way. And Florida and Texas, along with most of the states in the South and Midwest, are run by a bunch of reckless redneck yahoos who don't understand science and are wrong in everything they do. My friend says, crazy is the only word for this state. We're the equivalent of a fat bastard lecturing a triathlete on how to take care of themselves. This is madness. I think that sums it up rather well. You can get that if you want to pass it on to your friends at HowieCarrShow.com. I'm Howie Carr.
We here at Matthews Brothers are just as anxious as the next fella to get back out into society. Not that we didn't enjoy all that quality family time over the past few weeks, all 5,301,672 seconds of it. And it was fun putting on a mask before going into the bank and the liquor store. And we really enjoyed calling window companies and begging for a salesman to come on out. And while the past few weeks may have given us a pretty good idea of what eternity will feel like, it also made us realize how precious and fragile our freedoms can be. It made us realize that although we were all in the same storm, we were not all in the same boat. And we realized that every job is essential, no matter what the government may think. Our thanks to everyone whose personal sacrifices helped us weather this storm, and especially to the men and women of Matthews Brothers, who stood shoulder to socially distant shoulder as they continued their mission of providing consistently superior customer service. You can see the results of their relentless passion for making wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at better lumberyards and window professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
Grace says this guy has spoken out against Baker prior to today.
I'm looking at the thing right now. Why didn't he sign the letter then? That's really weird. But I'll ask him. What?
You can ask him yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 44-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable. But one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, just checking on oil again today. I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
I was wondering if you...
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, let me do something else. What do you say the Americans were scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his
report.
Name?
I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible without widespread testing, how would you know?
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969 on WHDH News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the Party House where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. We'll take your phone calls as we go through the remainder of the show tonight. I wanted to check in. A state rep wanted to speak. Sean Dooley, he's the Republican state rep from Norfolk. He's I'll get his reaction. Representative Dooley, how do you grade the reopening for the restaurants and hotels today, the plan?
No, I don't know. Is crap a grade? I was incredibly disappointed. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous when Gina Raimondo in the state of Rhode Island is kicking our butt. You know something's wrong.
Well, I have to ask you this question. I wrote a column today about all the members of the Republican State Committee who didn't sign the letter that was written by Jim Lyons, the state party chairman, asking Governor Baker to start trying to reopen the state. And you were one of the members of the committee who didn't sign the letter.
Yeah, no, I would say because, last week I was beating the crap out of him. I was on every single news station, beating him up and on Dan Ray and all these other shows. And we had a dialogue and I was trying to push him. And I didn't feel that piling on as just another name on a letter was going to do any good. I was trying to push toward today and to Monday. And so I made a political decision that, you know what, I'm talking to him now. I think he heard me loud and clear. And I was hoping that, what I said last week would have some impact, and evidently it didn't.
Did you make a mistake, Representative Dooley, by not signing the letter?
No, I don't think I made a mistake. My position was very clear long before that letter, a week and a half before. The letter was okay. I think, things that I put out there the previous week were stronger, and I think I had more success. What was leaked out prior, I was on every news cycle on Sunday and then Monday morning, and all of a sudden a completely different version came out in his press conference, and I think I had a lot to do with it, that we got the part 2 of phase 1 added in. So no, I don't think it was a mistake.
But why is this new plan crap after you lobbied him?
Well, I don't have any power over the governor per se. I try to lobby him and try to push him because the reason I feel it's crap was because I think it's picking winners and losers once again. I have two restaurants side by side. One has a patio, one doesn't. One's allowed to open, one's not. That's not right. We got to level the playing field and let everybody compete fairly. That's what America's all about.
How is it possible that there's nobody in a Republican administration who seems to understand this basic concept, not of business so much, but just of fairness?
I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer. I was okay. I wasn't thrilled with, but I was okay with a lot of the early on and the surge and all that sort of stuff. But now that we've leveled the playing, we've leveled the curve and we've seen a nice decline, we need to get back to normal. And to say that Target can open up and have 500 people, yet my mom and pop retailer who own a jewelry store can't even allow one customer in, just isn't right.
Did you talk directly to the governor about this?
Yes.
What did he say? When I assume you made just that point to him. What did he say?
No, he doesn't say no, but I hear, I mean, he was very courteous. I mean, it wasn't like it was a long, winded conversation. Some of it was text, some of it was phone, some of it was email. And he's like, no, I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you for your feedback. He didn't tell me to go pound sand or anything. He's like, no, but, we're taking all this into consideration. We're looking at all the facts. It is what it is. I thought we were moving further. I read what he was saying to me to be more positive. So even when I saw the directive came out early this morning on the pre-press sheets, I thought we were going to get some inside opening, some common sense opening that, with some plexiglass or some wall dividers and 6 feet apart, people will be able to act like adults, make common sense decisions, and start moving forward.
I think the experience would have led you in a different direction for your conclusion. There's an old saying, Representative Dooley, the door is open, but the mind is closed. Sounds like that's the experience you had with the governor.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I was, let's, the reality is the governor, and I can only push him so far. I wish if I got to be governor, it's a different story, but that's not the case. And there's just so many things that I'm troubled by what's going on, and the not treating us like adults, not giving us the independence to make decisions and take care of ourselves. I think people in Massachusetts, we're the most educated state in the country. We're really smart. We can figure this out. Our people can say, all right, we get social distancing. We get wearing masks. We get washing our hands. We can do it. Give us a little credit and let us move forward and act like adults. And, I don't know. It's just very frustrating.
If somebody hears you tonight talking about the governor or read my column this morning and accuses you, one of your constituents this weekend, and says, you're a stooge for Charlie Baker and he's destroying the state, what would you tell him?
Well, I say, you know what? Look at my track record. I've hit Charlie on more things than pretty much any current state rep or state senator. Whether it was the Kraft line or all my work against the MBTA and the whole China rail thing that I've been doing for years. Hitting him on, different prison things that he's done down in my territory. I've been pretty consistent. When I agree with him, I agree with him. When I don't agree with him, I have no problem publicly saying that I don't agree with him. So, I mean, and I think that's the right way to go. I mean, I don't put it this way. My wife sure as hell doesn't agree with me all the time, so I don't expect the governor to either.
617 says, tell this rep that we did what we were asked and now the governor is changing the terms. This is not living.
Are you talking to me? Or
yeah, no, I want your response to that. That's what he wants me to tell you.
Oh, okay. No, you broke it. I'm sorry. You broke up for a second. No, I 100% agree with you. I mean, this was not the deal. This was not the agreement we made as a society, as a population, as the voters. We said, all right, listen, this is what it is. the deal was we start flattening the curve. We worry about the surge. We start seeing downward movement. We're going to start opening things back up, and we'll get back to normal, get the economy back rolling. And now to change the rules with a ivory tower elitism, I'm smarter than the rest of you, and I can take care of you, and you can't take care of yourself attitude, I think is very, very demeaning. I think it's probably the best word. I think we as a population deserve credit for being smart and being able to make good choices.
I think you overestimated the guy, Representative Dooley.
Hey, you know what, Howie? It won't be won't be the first time I've overestimated someone, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, and good luck.
My pleasure. Can I do a real quick pitch?
Sure.
Next Thursday at Plain Ridge Park Casino, I'm doing a partnership with the Dairy Farmers of America, where we're giving away. I think I got 4,400 gallons of milk. I did this a couple weeks ago in Boston. To anybody in need, come by. We open up at 9 a.m. Come by, grab a couple gallons of milk, and to anybody that actually needs it, hopefully it helps make your life a little bit better.
Are masks required?
Masks are required.
Oh.
We actually are being staffed.
See, I thought that was a joke, but I misjudged the moment. Obviously.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Okay. That's Representative Sean Dooley from Norfolk, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Keep it here. The captain will be back after this.
Do you have no water?
You let him go easy.
What should I have done, Taylor? Highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for our planet.
Yep.
Will you tell Grace to be sure to send me those Charlie Parker cuts from today and Karen Polito?
Sure.
Thanks.
More brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of
Got a Lori Lightfoot cut coming your way.
Oh my goodness. I'm shuddering.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truckstown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
And I will code what I really want to say to Donald Trump. It's 2 words. It begins with F and it ends with U.
That's the mayor of the city of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. How is this Trump's fault? The city of Minneapolis, the state of Minnesota, run by lunatic Democrats who have shut the state down, and they've done a worse job than Charlie Parker and Marty Walsh. And she's blaming Trump. Okay. All right. 844-500-4242. Just got a text for 781. We're driving back from Florida and we feel like we're entering East Germany. That's exactly the analogy I made to a guy I know in Palm Beach where I live. He said, when are you going back? He's from South Boston. And I said to him earlier this week, I said, when you jump over the wall in Berlin during the Cold War, you don't go back to East Germany. It's the way I feel. I mean, things are nice down here. Again, the stools aren't in the bars yet. But other than that, you could have a nice meal. The stores are open. Everybody's walking around, no masks, no nothing. It's great. Peter, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Peter.
Hey, Howie, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, listen, I'm a little confused. When I go into a restaurant with my mask on, how am I supposed to eat?
The state will permit you. That's a big word these days, permit. The state permits you to go to church. The state permits you to go to the barbershop if you wet your hair first and sign an attestation. The state will permit you to briefly remove your mask long enough to have a few bites to eat, Peter.
Those lines of the state permitting me to do anything. Old Charlie Parker there, he declared a state of emergency on March 10th.
Yes.
Now, my research tells me that his state of emergency are enacted for 45 days.
Correct.
Has he reissued a state of emergency?
He is somehow claimed to these judges in these courts that are so incredibly corrupt, as we all know, that he has the right to extend it indefinitely. But I agree with you. I mean, that law was passed in 1950, and it gave him 45 days, and the 45 days has long since expired. But the courts are permitting him to abrogate our freedoms, our constitutional liberties. Thanks for the call, Peter. Monique, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Monique.
So a couple of quick items, Howie. So the survival rate, according to the CDC, of COVID-19 overall, and this is of known identified cases, 99.6% survival rate. And as you know, that's been going up steadily for weeks. So I really am completely puzzled by this lockdown.
Yeah, so are we all.
Quickly about Gina Raimondo. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. And so just a quick report from Rhode Island. So our phase 2 starts Monday, I guess. It goes 2 weeks implemented and plus 2 weeks of observation, and then we maybe get to go to phase 3. A reporter asked her today at her press conference, so what are you looking for parameters to start phase 4? And she said, not only did she say, I don't know, I haven't thought of that, she said, we may never enter phase 4.
Even though, again, the average age of the decedent is into his 80s, as high as 86, 87 in Minnesota. And most of the deaths are in nursing homes. And as you say, the survival rate is 99%. What is this? What's this all about other than imposing a sort of a soft dictatorship on a free people, Monique, and wrecking the economy?
I don't know that. Yeah, they're completely destroying the economy, destroying people's health because they can't get their treatment. They're going to lose their health insurance. I don't know that that's the intent, but that is a soft dictatorship is certainly the effect, Howie.
Yeah, it is. Gina, and the thing is, Gina Raimondo, she was the first one into the pool. She was the one who told the state police, stop all the cars coming across the border if they got New York license plates. Totally unconstitutional. Back to the same argument they were making at the campgrounds in Maine today. The Justice Department, Article 4, Section 2. All citizens have the same rights of of the several sovereign states, as they put it. Thanks for the call, Monique. Brian, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Brian. But Raimondo has sobered up a little bit anyway. Not all the way, obviously, from what Monique said, but she's better off than Charlie Parker. He's still on a total bender. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Howie, calling you from the free state of New Hampshire, well, quasi-free. So I just had a quick question, which is, it kind of seems to me, and I haven't really heard anybody make this point. This is kind of the perfect dream of Democrats. They have basically a fascist government. I hate to whip out that word so early in the call, but
I know.
They have an overarching government. They're putting a lot of people on government dependency, people out of work. They get to do more social programs over in Minneapolis, people acting like animals, burning things down to the ground.
And don't forget, they get to permit everybody to do, they get to permit everybody. Everybody has to get a permit and has to be permitted by the government. You're right. It is a dream. It's a dream come true.
So
poverty and control together.
Negative?
What could be better than poverty and control, Brian?
They take out the ability for people to support themselves, and they get all these people dependent on government. And it seems to me that this is the perfect situation for Democrats to try to take over in 2020 and also give people a feeling of what it's like to not have any rights. And that's basically what Democrats ultimately want. They don't want law and order. They want people dependent on government, and they want people to ask for the right to, even for the Bill of Rights, to even go to church. It's outrageous.
I wish I could disagree with you, Brian, but I'm pretty much in agreement with you 100%. Thanks for the call. 844-500-4242, 617. We live on the Massachusetts-Connecticut line and went out for our first meal to a restaurant we never went to before. We will definitely go there again. Yeah, obviously the restaurant's in Connecticut, not Massachusetts. And again,
I wonder, Howie, if I go to a Massachusetts restaurant with outdoor seating, are they going to bring back smoking and non-smoking?
A few texters have asked that question too. It would only seem appropriate, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Somebody was driving down the Roxbury line today and went on Methadone Mile. Taylor said he didn't observe too many face coverings among the junkies down on Methadone Mile.
Shocked.
Dan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dan.
Hi, Howie. I was just wanted to comment on the thing that Grace said about this woman who pulled off her mask and spit on a man.
Yes.
You remember about when AIDS first started, there were people who were having indiscriminate sex, and they were brought up on charges for, assault with a deadly weapon.
Right. Well, in most of the cases, the last couple of months, people get drunk, and then the cops come to take them away, and they say, "Oh, I'll show you. I've got coronavirus," and then they spit on them, and then they test them out, and I think a couple of times they've accused people of assault with a terroristic weapon. Uncertainty in the Howie Carr. Feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe.